What did you do with the quarters? My quarters. We have ways accessing. Oh, I'm an excruciating pain. I hate it here, I really do. But I witnessed a suicide in a barber shop and I think that fucked me up, right? I'm missing a joint, so I'll just roll another one. I know I didn't smoke it. I found two more on the ground, so... No, it's not the same one. I know it's different. I found that. I don't remember rolling it and dropping it or nothing. There's not much here, but two of them together makes sense. Like some right now, it's just nothing good. I leave the phone line plug to the ADSL filter. Put the ADSL filter into the door or unplug it. It doesn't fucking as frustrated as I am, I can get over it. Oh, my face is hurting. I'm flashbacking about suicide things I see. I'm not suicidal. But I'm at a huge risk of getting suicide statistically from being a child witness to suicide. And having suicide disease. Like, I shouldn't even be alive by my own hand. In this country, where the suicide rate is 8 times the homicide rate, I shouldn't be alive. There's no interest in hurting myself ever. Any injury the cops said I did to myself is because they fucking did it, eh? Just to be clear. It says, oh yeah, he broke his own wrist or he cut himself. Yeah, fuck you. I get shot in the back twice, the back of the head twice, you're handcuffed. Yeah. Fuck you, right? Oh, you can go and maybe get away with it, but the people don't know, man. I got fancy keys too, right? If we can find me for less than 225, you know, it's cotton, hot water and soap and get it clean. You rinse it and scrub it long enough.
I feel I never want this shit to end. I gotta start like this. See my nigga eyes. Button fingers for niggas who speak the cops. Man, I'm back
on my bullshit. Never really gave a fuck.
And I never see no paper shot shots like they met, but they soft like the ladies punch. Laughing at your team like who the fuck right the crazy punch. That's not the team for the team like I'm the latest start. So I'm about to team.
They know that my phone's because the phone number be a green piece of paper instead of a white one.
The truth hangs under disguise. I talk down, but still under disguise. I ain't kept that how long. Can't you see the bags under my eyes?
I'm not even joking. I'll write the number on here. I'll use this clear tape, put it right over top of this old school plastic piece so nobody steals it. I don't even have a place to put it or separate it, but it's a complete unit as long as that's it. That piece is missing, it's no longer complete. An option or something, 50 years from now. Oh yeah, telephones invented by black people. Yeah, so fuck you. What a white person invent the phone? Hey nigga, go get my... Exactly. Why would he fucking invent the phone? Hey nigga, go tell. Exactly. Why? Exactly. I don't know. Picture of Elijah Gray, I see me. Looks like me, eh? I didn't know until recently. Knew about Elijah Gray for the longest time. Never thought about why I never saw a picture of him. Because they can't deny he's black, but he don't look dark. Well, I mean, what's black look like? Aside from the color black, what does the race look like? Let's tore that open, didn't we? Scrap, gang, salvage life. First mistake the phone companies make. Any vending company will tell you. Clear the machines nightly. No, they leave the money in there for 6 fucking months. It's not earning interest. This is why it doesn't make sense to try to run a national network. You should run it like an army or something. Oh, you gotta have locks on every fucking thing because you don't trust the people or something. You gotta collect 70 phone calls to pay for that lock. And this is deceiving its own purpose. I'm just trying to imagine where that joint went. Like I'm looking up just in case. Oh, maybe I dropped it. My fucking face was exploding. My face was on fire. And, I couldn't think. And then I overheated.
They're trying to throw a gun on me. It's only allegations. If it was mine, it was in case they tried to run on me. 3 to 5 is what they asking, but I won't wipe the day. Got a little daughter to raise, so I'ma fight the case.
25 cents for Timberland Bagel. 101.
White in that wooden box. That's the vision.
Dude, shout out to Ray.
And if I go, it's because I'm dancing with the devil in the heavenly room. That's like
more.
water with oil.
One South African ranch with the size of
I just really want my brother back. I want that joy for his back in his mother's heart. I want them bullets reversed that hit his brother's car. When I back the ratchet, the head and back in the ways. We ain't friends, this ain't back in the day. 2017, I'll probably put the map to his face. Fuck these shows, I'm strapped back to back of the stage. I'll shoot it up and then I'll join the crowd.
American Dime, just to keep it old school.
This is 2019. Ballistics, and that's how you get away with charges on some sick shit. Yeah, I was raised with the savages. Grew up with them savages, never ran in my temperature kids. I only slapped back and stood tall. And this rap shit ain't the only way I'm with a black mask and a broken strap. Still bang 6 and dented whips. When I hold it back, why I roll with that in the streets? There ain't no holding back. I don't move in the street, busting an older strap. I got 7 in that fifth like my block number. 17 in the clip for my block busters. I ain't gotta wait for my dick. This ain't no blockbuster. My young boy was 14 when he shot something. 15 in that Beretta he bust. I stayed prepping. I never changed my sweater in months. Even when I got knocked, nigga, I was prepping to say a week later 10 bands just to get out the cage. Fake love, handshakes and hugs. There's 8 in the snub. That's 2 more than the 38 I gave to my guns. And if you know me, you know that I've been real. Since a little you, I'm the block riding big wheels. But I'm a lot older on this block with the big steel. Peanut butter block left his brains on the windshield. Rock, paper, scissors, spring kick like a windmill. 4-5 clip hangs lower than the windshield. Crime parents saw him outside with a 9's weight. Dog clowns follow me everywhere I go. Yeah, voices talking to me while I'm sleeping at night. Eyes open, can't move, ain't a person in sight. Premonitions and visions, you can see the red in my eyes like the red light underneath the black 45. How you got it done, but you ain't walking with it. It's like a pit bull locked in a cage. Truth through flesh when it bark after it bite. Flee the scene low key, quiet storm playing on the getaway. Calm my nerves, adrenaline still rushing through my veins. It was either me or him, so for that I couldn't complain. Simple message for you little niggas, better stay out the way. Touch my arms, then I bear arms. It's only right. I do you niggas like they did King, cause the hell that the red light. You try to bitch, then I leave it with the mat. Broad day shooters, you know about us. In the West End, everybody heard about us. On that Master P, all my niggas about it. When you play lit, niggas coming through the alley. Yellow tape on your strip, hella shells on the floor. That's how my niggas do it when it's time for the war. So my niggas do.
The bridge already done, don't give a fuck about you, fake ass. Start talking about you. Road State, Nubo. It's not in here. It's in here. No, I got a bunch of it in here. So if you go in a different joint, then there's a full joint here, so it's inside the phone plug. Some service guy one day could fight like bought at an auction or something. Oh yeah, these are from the 80s, but then they reinstalled them in a different crack neighborhood in Canada. Oh, look at that. You know it's legit Canada. There's a joint here somewhere. And then the premier's gonna talk any minute, right? Why, he'll be fucking early. Watch. Same bullshit.
Until every one of them dies. We shoot back.
Where's the focal point on this damn camera?
Ain't the type to break his brains for the ones that wanna be saved, and I don't wanna be saved. I'm gonna put in work for all my peoples in the dirt, assuring you your death is worth something. They know nothing. It's never gonna slow us down. With the spirit of a warrior on the front line before us, not even bullshit stop us now. But up with us, up with us, steady, ready for whatever comes our way. Molotov drum breaking out in flames, and everything is I can't tame the beast in me. I'm insane. Coming for the
Give these to the Mexicans and over here picking apples. I want to go back home.
I see them guts dropping. My motive is explosive to stop the intruders in their tracks popping up my gas, staying straight, busting until them bodies set. It ain't over till I lost his back, and that's a fact. Where you at? In the struggle, baby. Savage on the hustle. I'm gonna grab them by the face and wrap their mouth around my muzzle.
What happened to that joint? Oh, yeah, and I dropped like 100 fucking razor blades on the goddamn floor. I ain't picking them up. I ain't fit. Fuck you. Fuck you. They're all filthy now, too. Holy shit. Fuck. Oh, they're dead. They're like fucking man. I'm just going up to show you either. You want to look up? There's the fucking box. You have to write these in Korean kanji and shit. They suck, motherfuckers. Sounds so weird, like I'm obsessed with this. I want to know how the other fucking idiots are going to react. They don't really have a good piece of information to tell people. That helps.
Shoot them with this look, Wally power, and watch them die slow. What they do, on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleed devils, even some rebels coming to ride. We ain't moving, we shoot until every one of them die. We shoot back, what they do, on these demons, leaving everything in ruins. We bleed devils, even some rebels coming to ride. We ain't moving, we shoot until every one of them die. We shoot back, Settlers boards, we just taking them down to the floor. We bringing this heat so raw. We savage, down to the core. We've been waiting for this so long. Now we're ready like never before. In there, ain't no stopping us. We're getting to the apocalypse. We own this monster shit, burning down the metropolis. We taking hostages and taking your government's in the tail. We're taking our heads off just to show you the shit is real. We hold javelins, known for bone shattering, hosting domes, battering, pose. We so savage shit. We from the coast and we can power like the storms. Hurricanes running through my veins, coming with no remorse. You better be ready for us. Be ready with any force. And fucking military, us be coming to take them force. They started now, America is the target. They call it the home of the brain, native, I call it the home of the heart. We shoot until every one of us die. We shoot back, but they doing we win. I need on these demons leaving everything in ruins. We bleed from devils, even some rebels coming around. We ain't moving. We shoot until every one of them die. We shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back, shoot back. They told me them Wicks and niggas is better than me. They told me them G-Way niggas is better than me. They told me them Reacher niggas is better than me. Got this devil in me, I don't see my enemies in miles away. Mother nature had a child today. Product of environments and alleyways. Like why these rappers wanna blame me? There's something more dick than Sam G. I had to cancel to him. I had to catch it to a fade. About 5 times my drama made the notes in my videos. Won't get 100,000 films on the south side. I recognize the G-Way, Region Park, and Southside Chain. That's where the demons walk. Price of barrels by the meter long. Tears in your eyes when you see your mom. Let the boys not free, but open free to come. Go against me, some Mac versus BB gun. Fuck boys, they didn't think we gon' throw some shots. Fuck niggas. Same vodka, bitch. There's a Mac 10 beef. Fuck's wrong with them? I'm a Mexico youth with Down syndrome. They're like 5 foot nothing. Get slapped down, survive a shot, then my nigga swinging back round, then you go, and then I'm at call, ring, and it's fully automatic. Them niggas just so melodramatic, call, ring, and it's fully automatic.
Now it's fucking gone, so.
So emotional, niggas suspicious, trust and mostly hopes, making them kick rocks and open doors. I rock your roads, try and take us for no poppy show. 50,000 views gon' gas them up like escalates.
Oh, I'm worried about a little piece of paper. I got 100 fucking Hindu names on my floor, right? There's no handle on those.
Okay, cause ain't even free.
That's why I found him on the road. Buddy dropped him. He probably fucking dropped him before and picked him up and realized why not to. Fuck this, I'm out of here. I'm here for the city. Everything's free, I know it's free. Oh, I could have saved him $500 getting this off Amazon, right? Yeah, that's
just remember where Scarborough your hut's from. These niggas looking like pum-pum. Some boy, they better watch out. Get slapped down, survive a shot, that my niggas swinging back round, then you go, and then I'm at call, ring.
That's why I know the phones before with the credit card readers. They didn't have these. They had credit card reader phones. $1,500.
Them niggas just so melodramatic.
Use a credit card to pay for them. It's like asking me, like, I can buy a credit card reader, put on the corner, and walk up to the credit card. Really? You're gonna let me do this?
Then you go, and then I'm at call, ring.
I'm not even sure how you get the payments processed. I just know this has the shit in it to fucking capture the data. I just don't know how you process it. You think this is encrypted?
Them niggas is so melodramatic.
I think about plugging a fax machine that prints out your statement or something. Yeah, my fascination with telephone equipment is kind of fucked up. See, this was sitting basically here. I'm thinking it might fall in here.
From the couch to the floor, we'll be in the zone.
Does the point relay actuate? Just go click. Is there something stuck in there? Hey, there it is. What is it? Nothing. Thanks. Priceless. I'm shivering in about 2 seconds.
Sit on the beach, quiet times in the city can never be beat. So baby, you can do your thing.
need a graphic. It's got like a circle line for this, and like the green circle for this. You can't have it covered the eye though, so you can misunderstand. Like a microphone don't care where it is. You know what mic pops are? Damn it, I hate mic pops. On recorded tracks, come on. Studio cut tracks. Talking live.
I can be your best friend if you let me see what you believe. Honestly, the perfect life could be that, honey. I'll support you when the clock throws me. Baby, you can do your thing, and I can do a thing. The we can do a thing. Say, baby, you can do your thing. So do your thing, and I can do a thing.
The volume's still turned down from yesterday, I think, but I can't fucking get the fucking ticket. Work when I want it to. Okay, no, it's not. All the way down. All the way back. Mine's really low. Maybe I'm tripping. Oh yeah, you turn the volume down when you're doing one thing, then you go back to other stuff, the volume goes back up to the way when you come back, the volume goes down again. You forgot that you turned it down yesterday. Alright. Look at this thing volume. I'll read volume buttons at a time. Get the fuck out of here. I just need on, off. Your horn have a volume button? No, it should have one. Why not? They're electric anyway.
We in the hood chopping, ain't nothing changed. So that I roll with bang. My homies stay bars, throwing up fingers, sipping on some. We don't like strangers. Dug in my blood from the very first day. Certified VA official, don't play. Go the other way, don't come around here. Bitch sleeping on me, lick holes in your gas. Big stacks and get dead when I'm out on the block. If you front, I suggest you get back, get knocked, and getting money over here. I don't know what you got, cause the one I got is too big to fit in outside. I'ma hustle hard way before I came out the block. I'm in the spot all day, even when it gets hot. Only when you see pole, everything stops. So when the young girl and it's back over the shop, kill the crap, I'ma kick my brother with blood. I'ma play small, or your boss so fucked up. These cats like the bitch stand up to the strut. Cause when we step in the building, we alive, and here comes the pop. In the sun, got glass top, close to what? If you stand in the way, my feel you right. Man, I get that right, tell you you're not. Ain't no motherfucking games, I get it. In the hood chopping, ain't nothing changed. So that I roll with back. My homies stay bars, throwing up fingers, sipping on some. We don't like strangers. Dug in my blood from the very first day. Certified VA official, don't play. Go the other way, don't come around here.
Watching it traumatize everybody else from time.
I walk in like a president too. I got numbers like a Mexican crew. I'm next to win too. I've been up on my grizzly.
I've been doing this since the attempted Russian coup. Who the fuck are you? What the fuck you gonna do when we come through?
Like me in the coffin, I'm dirty when I kill it. Like a little fishy on the skillet. I'ma cook it, I'ma chuck it, I'ma skin it. I'ma eat it, I'ma finish, I'ma ride it. Till the day I die, cause I'm all cause a conqueror. Extraterrestrial, motherfucking Martian. I'm just getting started. Fire squad is the entourage that I march with. I'm off in the black Cadillac in the Tampa. Hanging out the window with a bottle in my hand. I'm stepping up a black rubber band. We in the hood chopping, ain't nothing changed. So that I roll with bang. My homies stay bars, throwing up fingers, sipping on
we never got the fucking thing dying now. What am I up to right now? We never got the fucking thing dying now. What am I doing?
Certified VA official, don't play. Go the other way, don't come around here. Sleeping on me, lick holes in your gas.
I was gonna do so, I don't need to do it.
Chopping, ain't nothing changed. Soldiers that I roll with, bang.
Did that not just come out of there?
Jump in the water, speed that flow. Don't go against that flow. Speed that flow, speed that flow. Jump in that water, speed that flow. Don't go against that flow. Speed that flow, just jump in that water. Speed that flow, just speed that flow. Jump in that water. Speed that flow, speed that flow. Don't go against it, God. Speed that flow, jump in that water.
Look. Blue on the left, white on the right.
Speed that flow. Jump in that water, be that flow. Just be that flow.
We'll get it. We'll get it. Is it a gang thing? Is it electrical thing?
Be that flow. Don't go against it, dog. Be that flow. Jump in that water. Be that
Slice a piece up in the Dutch pot. Fried chicken on the stove top. Shadow niggas from the stove top. Niggas talk but send a gunshots.
Fly Aki sauce from my pictures look. The place run down but it's looking good. Shout out niggas at a drip foot. The shit's way beyond drip blood.
Toronto born and raised. Toronto born and raised. And it was never ready. Every single day you would be amazed. Living how we live, young niggas grinding stuck up in a maze. Told my nigga Charlie, we can get this money making different ways.
We don't call it no shit, we ain't call it no bitch. But I got a full clip and I better than rip. I just better with bit, and they get it with hits. You know that I hate niggas. Lift them up how I pitch niggas. Better get back on the defense, nigga. I just don't run even stench, nigga. That gets me on the offense.
Charlie like Jordan, Scottie Pippen, better listen on a mission, wishing, hoping that we find a way to beat the competition.
Niggas switching, cotton picking, walk with bitches, talk is different. You know, slipping back to business. Wait, let me slow it down. Still full circle, I go around. Wait,
never thought my city was a murder town. Ran from the cops and my pants was sagging. Used to do dirt in the station wagon. Getting locked up in the station flagging.
03, I got to raise the magnum. Bringing out the beast like I'm Hugh Jackman. Join the team like some new draftsmen. To get the rope like how they do in Hangman. Jump in the water. Speed that flow. Don't go against that flow. Speed that flow. Speed that flow.
Oh, yeah, you ain't got it, right?
Speed that flow. Go against that flow. Speed that flow. Just jump in that water. Yeah. Be that flow. Just be that flow. Jump in that water. Be that flow. Just be that flow. Don't go against it, dog. Just be that flow. Jump in that water. Yeah. Be that flow. Just be that flow. Yeah. Be that flow. Jump in that water. Be that flow.
Those extra wires for it.
Don't go against it.
What's that 666 chip part? Do not confirm or deny.
Don't go against it, be that flow.
I'll push it around like that, and that'll stop that from riding on that contact. Fuck, man. You guys just don't consider. Oh, the thing's not supposed to move. Well, how do you ship it and move it and install it? It can't stand 2 days in my house. It's not going to survive on the street corner, I'm pretty sure. Okay. I'm doing something wrong. Not quite sure what.
They're angry to know that the king will be coming back. They hating so bad, but I'm glad, man. What's up with that? The traps have been laid, I'ma slam a couple racks. Rounds out of pocket, your lady get wet. Just believe you can get it. The bubbles is my
Matches of them all.
They're angry to know that the king will be coming back. They hating so bad, but I'm glad, man. What's up with that? This is my season. They're angry to know that the king will be coming. This is my season.
Oh, thank you.
I don't have to blow the coin mechanism out at all, eh?
Angry to know that the king will be coming back. They hating so bad, but I'm glad, man. What's up with that?
This is the pay for it. The whole thing together is the pay for it. But if you strip it all down to parts, there's a barcode here with a serial number. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to have that, but it does. It's like the VIN number on the car, like the firewall, the tank, the tension, the bolt, things like that. That's the part. It's like the little metal piece you're paying for when you get the one certificate in the US. You can't just pay $20,000 for a little piece of metal.
Nobody worthy. 3 old rappers last time I'm 30. Smoking hard like you love poppers. Bodies on the table, I'm feeling like a doctor. This shit feel perfect. Only one reason. Everybody getting cause the motherfucking season.
You notice I'm not touching the fucking circuit board.
Someone everybody loves. I can make it to the media, everyone to you. Only want to hit you with applause. Oh God, speak those lines. I can make it number one on every chart. I can put you up the ladder. I can make you sad. I can give you Grammy nomination and awards. Oh God, I can make it to the stars.
A slight little bit of surface corrosion.
I can make it to the media, everyone to see you. Only want to hit you with applause. Oh God, speak those lines. I can make it number one on every chart. I can give you Grammy nomination and awards.
and you're waiting. But these boy damn perpetrating, delaying the games. Make your body move around like the cadence. No, it can't save you. Regulate your behavior. Make your body gonna change for the neighbors.
Copyright 94. Thank you.
Y'all niggas ain't real rappers. Multiply the money on my factor. I don't need to I'm a straight savage. I don't ever ask this unless it's the actress. The president in the cypher. Shorty finna catch his gag in the back of a melon. Everybody wanna chase it, but the case selling. You won't need a pass when you come into my dwelling. How you in the trap? Police can't stop it. They don't recognize and you look.
I don't put it down there.
They don't wanna see the seat. I don't wanna be low-key. I can never be discreet. Cause the boys yelling in my brain said I was a king. And a man with a vision can achieve anything. All I'm contradictions give me gifts I couldn't see. And I heard angels sing from thoughts psychedelics is the only thing in my way was in the mirror. I ain't never give a fuck about a last nigga. Where you at, nigga? I be pulling up when you nap, nigga. We just slide on with the cat, nigga. See me at the show, you gotta give me that, nigga. Everybody know I'm that, nigga.
Yeah, I'm
know
good
where you
about
at, nigga. Never
Tons of space. I can see there.
It's you when niggas ain't believe it. Red and black shirt, Julius Caesar.
That's what about you biting me and you. I'm gonna keep doing the job to the soldier.
I can make you someone everybody loves. I can make you someone idiot. Everyone to give you all they want to hit you with applause. Oh God, speak goes on. I can make it number one on every chart. I can push you up the ladder. I can make you sad.
You don't touch
nomination in the bars. Oh God, I can make you to a star. I can make you someone everybody loves. I can make you so the media, everyone that's giving you all they want to hit you with applause. Oh God, speak goes on.
Very longer talking about
Every chart.
No, I'm not gonna do it the way they say. The book's all fucked up. You're sick. 666. I'm not touching these people.
Come for that bag, come for your last nigga. Put it all to me, really mad nigga. I've been doing good, feeling like a sad nigga. Whoa, I never know, cause I never smoke poet. I've been on my job now, nigga, got me
Test it. It says 790-74.
I'm a shorter like the super voter. Remember you was on a cool when you was older. Now you fucked up when you was another yard just to get another bag for your bag. Nigga, hold up, I just want a rat. I'm really in the trap, as well as with the facts. Y'all had a problem, we can leave it in the past. So I'm trying to throw stones while looking at the glass. Goddamn, nigga, catch a wave. Say chain on my neck, looking like a slave. Niggas want a future, but they never want to pay. I remember when we saying something like in the play. Niggas
Why that white boy got nuts braids? He got bigger age.
I really care the price, boy, really love this light. Really pay the price, turn me to a star. Who are y'all? I really fucking know, but I'm feeling like a god. God, nigga. I done took a cruise from
I can make you someone everybody loves. I can make you someone idiot. Everyone to give you all they want to hit you with applause. Oh God, speak goes on. I can make it number one on every chart. I can put you on the ladder. Every nomination and award. Oh God, I can make you to a star. I can make you someone everybody loves. I can make it so the media, everyone that's giving you all they want to hit you.
0086-755-0807.
Number one on every chart.
That's not a phone number, is it? 00. That's fucking far, right? Oh, is there 2 serial numbers on this? Nope. No. Oh, both numbers match, eh? That will matter to some people. Because I think, yeah, you can take these apart and swap them. Yeah, Batman. Here is a screw, and I'm screwed in. I found a missing screw door.
Watch
I found a missing screw doors. Just gonna do screw in the back and screw in the front. And this bolt thing here, it's 6-sided, so you go with the pliers. And see what I'm missing?
niggas don't love you, that's a fact. The match, no cheese, God bless me, no sneeze. Niggas see me increase. Shorty, no shit, he's strapped to the slot. They moving like a stack. I like just rack, put him in a box, no jack, roll one deep, never need a pack. Hey, niggas know me from north to the south. Never need no one, make my own club. Southside, reach me, screws my rope. Niggas on drugs, man, I'm in a drought. They all know what I'm about. Stuck in red, talk shit, catch lead to the head. Off the shit, no meds. What the fuck, I'm red, stay away from the beds. On the streets, no bed. Hey, deep water, I track, no snow, no sled. I'll swamp me dead. This day I dread, bitch gave me head. See my strap, they bled. Hey, I know they said I don't be shit when I was in the ditch. No pussy, I'm rich, they low, don't switch, they solid one bitch. See the flick of the wrist, I'm awesome shit, talk shit, get hit, big bump on me lit. I keep my stick, I let it flick just like a dick. I'm in this house like old Saint Nick. She want my dick, she know I'm sick, I ain't it. Crush that crack, I nip, I hit his lip. If he talking shit, fuck his click and fuck his gang. I'll hit the 3 just like I'm dick. She wanna gang them, see I bang. If he owe my gang them hollows, thang my shoulders bang. She loves when I sang, she feels the pain. I'm in the rain, hit a stain. If the means getting paid, and this my click, you get it. I'm in the trap, the top of the rain. I got that work, you know it's a great.
Premier Minister.
Hey.
Where's the squirrel?
You know me, I'm all about my dog. Gotta make sure my flow, they love my beat, they rate my flow. My neck is cold, it's low. Niggas gon' shoot, you know I drove. I keep my heat, I ain't talking about a stove. I'm in a trap, selling food, no fresh coat. That nigga wants beef, my stock won't slow. Every time I drop a track, my cloak no bro. Made sure he told me, I should've known that she was right. Because of that, we really tight. I'll bust my strap if she gon' fight. Hoodie on, all right at night. I'll show my bike, never flight. Pretty with the demon, he inciting. I ain't missing, I ain't slipping, never tripping. Coke I'm whipping, chipping, waist I'm really tripping. Packs I'm flipping, niggas talking, niggas stitching. Trigger finger really itch for fake. Niggas that want me dead. 9 on me, a 2 in the head. These niggas run to God like Ned. Check my flag, it's really red. Married to the game, not newlywed. Niggas watch my every move. They just wanna see me lose. These niggas lost like blues. My flow is sick, it's off the fluke. Hey, I make red, just call me Dempster's inner mouth, just like a denture. I am icy, look for pressure. Fuck that bitch, I'll never miss her. She respect me, call me Mr. Since she left, I have been better. Really wish I never met her. Page these niggas like a letter.
Hey, there's an extra socket there. What's that for? Extra stuff. Is that for future upgrades that you didn't get to on mine? Why didn't you give it to me? I want to do shit. There's a humongous capacitor.
The demon is a liar. He would like to confuse us, but he will also mix lies with the truth to attack us. The attack is psychological, powerful. So mix it. For that, do not mix
This is real life shit, can't change it for an instant. Blood, sweat, and tears, now everyone's against it. Trying to step in our way, man, your ass will get popped. Got homies on every corner, none afraid to get shot. You hear it drop, here comes the end of your life. Hollow points cutting through you like the edge of a knife. It's getting harder to see, step away from the light. Cause I'm the devil in disguise, I stole your soul tonight. What?
I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise, I stole your soul tonight. I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise, I stole your soul tonight. I stole your soul tonight. I'm the devil in disguise, I stole your soul tonight. What? Yeah, I stole your soul tonight. Devil in disguise, stole your soul tonight.
As you wake up in the dark and not realizing I'm there, go ahead and reach for the light. You won't find one there. This is the darkness inside. We with the pain that you feel. Hear the voices calling out another soul to conceal. You see the tears in the eyes, that's what's causing the pain. Staring at yourself when you can't remember the name. Call me whatever you like, but let it be told. I'm the devil in disguise and the possessor of souls.
The possessor of souls, the devil in disguise, yeah, the possessor of souls.
This is our time today.
The possessor of souls, I'll be the devil in disguise, the possessor of souls. The possessor of souls, I'll be the devil in disguise, the possessor of souls. The possessor of souls, devil in disguise, the possessor of souls.
Feel the pain in your chest, yeah, that's me coming back, being possessed by the devil. It's the life that I have, a possessor of souls, another light in the dark. Hear the footsteps in the night, now you're actually shocked. Go ahead and hide, try to make no sound. I know your every thought and action, so you're bound to be found. I get closer, can you feel my presence here? Cause I'm the devil in disguise, the only person you fear.
The only person you fear, I'll be the devil in disguise, the only person you fear.
Oh, look, the bad's going to end underneath already.
The devil in disguise, the only person you fear. The only person you fear, I'll be the devil in disguise, the only person you fear. What? Yeah, the only person you fear.
Brantford right now, it's partly cloudy and 23.
What about Bradford?
Downtown Toronto, we have sunshine. We're sitting at 22 degrees. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 1 o'clock.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680
How did the hair
News Toronto.
Don't tell me the motherfucker to put this together.
Oh, good afternoon. This is Friday, the 22nd of May.
Good afternoon. Here's what's making news this hour.
Government will be giving provinces funding and the logistical support they need in order to massively increase testing and contact tracing to prepare for a second wave of COVID-19. The province reports its highest number of new COVID-19 cases in 2 weeks, as testing still lags well behind even last week's levels. And we're just waiting on the Premier's daily briefing from Queen's Park. We, of course, will take you there live in just moments. Lions, tigers, bears, and a drive. The Toronto Zoo opens up to cars tomorrow with a new safari experience.
Yes or no, the NHLPA votes, and remembering Jerry Sloan, Sports at 15.
The most losing session on Bay and Wall Street in what's been a winning week for North American markets, and a give back for oil after its longest winning streak in more than a year. Business at 26. 680 News Time 101.
And now time for traffic and weather together on ones and checking that drive. Here's Scary Brunskis.
We have a new problem on the 401 westbound. Approaching the 427, the right lane is blocked with a collision. Emergency crews are on the scene. This just happened, so that backup is just starting to build on the westbound 401 as you approach the 427. Eastbound on the 401, that's slow approaching Mississauga Road to Mavis, then delays from approaching Kipling to the 400 Express and Collectors. Northbound on the 404, it's heavy from the 407 to north of 16th Avenue. There's construction north of Highway 7 to north of 16th. Left lane closed through that stretch. A heads up on construction northbound 400 approaching Dunlop.
And we're going to get back to Kerry in just a sec, but first now to Queen's Park and Premier Doug Ford is working with people out there.
And during this time, through this incredible challenge, our workers have stepped up. And while I'm on the topic of the hardest workers, I have to give a shout out to all the moms. Every day, despite everything you're dealing with, you find a way to make it all work. You're keeping the kids safe and healthy while homeschooling and keeping up with tasks around the house. And for many of you, balancing
of course you are.
a full day of work on top of all that.
I don't know what you say.
And you do it with care and love. I want you to know that your sacrifices during this time have not gone unnoticed. So to all the incredible moms out there,
are you giving them some money?
Thank you. And no matter what you do, no matter where you live, we have your back.
Giving you a raise.
And it all starts with investing in our people. It starts with helping workers with training and retraining, upgrading skills and preparing them for the new normal. And as more construction gets going, we're making sure our skilled tradespeople are set up for success, making sure they have the tools they need. So this summer, we're launching the all-new Ontario Tools Grant Program, a program that will help up to 11,600 apprentices get a head start on their careers in skilled trades.
So you like
and for those apprentices who benefited from our Loans for Tools program, we're forgiving over $10 million in loans. This represents about $500 back in the pockets of 19,000 apprentices for new tools, equipment, clothing, and manuals. By investing in our people, we're building a strong foundation for Ontario's long-term economic recovery.
No matter what, I already know that's going to fall off
other sectors have felt the economic impact of COVID-19. Many workers in our tourism and hospitality sectors have been among the hardest hit by the global pandemic. And we're doing everything we can to help. Through the Unite Here Local 75, we're investing almost $2 million to create a virtual action center to help impacted workers upgrade their skills as we gradually and safely reopen the economy. This skills training will ensure these people can get back to work with the skills and know-how to help businesses adapt to the new environment. Before I pass it along to Minister McDonald, I just want to send out a big thank you to our construction sector. Monty showed me a letter from the folks at the Building Trades Council and Ellis Don. All of us, government, labor, and industry, are working together to put the health and safety of every Ontario worker first. Together, we will ensure that every sector in this province can thrive and come back stronger than ever before. Thank you, and God bless the people of Ontario. Now I'll pass it over to Minister McDonald.
Clean. The outside is too, but I mean.
Well, thank you very much, Premier, and good afternoon. Things are still tough for a lot of people in our province now. The hospitality sector has been particularly hit very hard. Unite Here Local 75, which represents workers in the sector, tell us that 90% of their members have been laid off. And that's why we have to step in and act. Today, we're investing in a new virtual action center, an online retraining portal that will make life a little bit easier for them by connecting them with opportunities for counseling, retraining, and jobs. These opportunities will help on our road to recovery. We're standing up to help others too. If you owed money from our Loans for Tools program, you're not going to owe that money anymore. And for all the women and men entering the trades, we're creating a new tools grant to help you get started. Premier Ford and our government want to give you a leg up as you're starting your careers, especially during these very difficult times. We've been there, we get it. COVID-19 has created a new class of heroes. Electricians, iron workers, drywallers, and so many others serve this province as essential workers, just like doctors and nurses continue to do. As the Premier mentioned, the construction industry has stepped up. Today, I got a letter telling me that thanks to our hard work together, there were a very small number of cases of infection in the sector, and that's something worth celebrating. The point here is very simple. We all work well when we work together, business, labor, and government. So thanks to the insulators, the boilermakers, the laborers, the carpenters, the form workers, the painters, the plumbers, the good people of this province who have stepped up to get us to where we are today. You've stepped up, and I want to thank you for that. Thank you.
We'll go to the phone line for questions. First question. First question comes from Alex Bloomfield from 680 News. Please go ahead.
Hey, good morning, Premier. Testing this question likely for you, perhaps the health minister. In light of the federal government's announcement this morning on contact tracing and testing aid for provinces, what do you see that's changing on the ground here in Ontario? What are the hurdles perhaps standing in the way of rolling out a program like you mentioned in passing yesterday, random testing in the community? Does today's aid help take those hurdles down and make this happen faster?
Well, I had that conversation with the other premiers, with the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister on our weekly conference call, and it's so important to have the proper app, making sure that we do contact tracing and tracking. And another thing that's really important, Alex, is when we fully reopen the economy and people are flying from, let's say, Vancouver to Toronto or Calgary or East to Halifax, those apps have to be able to talk to each other. And it seems like every province has their special kind of homemade app that they really enjoy using, but it's so critical that we communicate to each other, and we've all agreed, all the provinces and the federal government has agreed to put a table together, a table with all our technology experts until we can make sure this works forward. But, you know, this is absolutely critical that we continue tracing and tracking. I'll pass it over to
what are the private investigators that like throwing their hat in there, something like whether they're volunteering or getting paid or whatever.
It's really important that we continue to do the tracing and the testing, and we need to look not just in Ontario but the entire country, because people will move around more as the economy opens up. So we want to make sure that we can have the capacity to work together. As the Premier said, the systems all have to work together so that we can react act as a country. But we are going to make sure that we continue with our testing here as well. And then our contact tracing, we are able to right now test over, do the contact tracing within 24 hours of 92% of the cases that are coming before us. We're still trying to increase that number, but we're doing very well. But again, having that the app that can speak to these issues and can connect all the provinces together is vitally important for us to make sure that we beat COVID-19.
Paula?
This question may be for you, Premier, perhaps the Minister of Labour as well, but this is obviously an important weekend for Muslims. I'm wondering if you have any update on future directives for mosques, churches, synagogues. We haven't heard too much on this lately besides the driving service exemption earlier this week, which isn't feasible for a lot of congregations. I know you've been involved in a few consultations with some faith leaders in recent weeks, but I think a lot of pastors, imams, rabbis, they would appreciate clarity that you've given today, or any clarity you could give them on a timeline for the possibility of restricted in-person gatherings. Would that be part of stage 2, for example? Maybe even guidelines that might come, I guess, from the Labour Minister's office. We've seen some of those for other sectors, but not yet for places of worship. Any update on that?
Well, first of all, for the Muslim community, I want to say happy Eid Mubarak. They've been an incredible community that have been donating so much to communities, not just their own community, by the way. I want to emphasize that. They've been at a couple of their food drives, handing out meals, and we're very, very grateful. We're going to go back to the golden rule. You have to stay 6 meters apart. It's absolutely critical, no matter where you're from.
Where's for 2 meters? 6 fucking meters.
It's absolutely critical, and the food drives that I've been at, everyone's wearing a mask, which is great. Continue to use face coverings. It's absolutely critical. But nothing has changed. Just keep social distancing, and please practice the protocols that the Chief Medical Officer has put out there.
Next question.
This I could crank down.
Next question comes from Lucas Meyer from News Talk 1010. Please go ahead.
Hi, Premier. I would like to get your reaction to something that was in the National Post. 4 infectious disease specialists from U of T and McMaster wrote an op-ed. And while they say you need manageable hospital capacity, the ban on mass gatherings, physical distancing, etc., the reopening of the economy should not be dependent on consistent lower cases. But that, of course, is a big plank to your economic reopening framework, that you need to see consistent decreases in that.
Use your common sense, buddy.
So I'm curious, how do you feel that a number of experts are coming out publicly against this position of yours and to lift restrictions?
Well, I just, first of all, I didn't read the article, so it'd be tough to comment on that, but I'll tell you, it's not about me. It's about our health table. We have some of the brightest minds on that health table in the country. I'll put them up against anyone. We have a great public health system here in Ontario. So again, I got to follow the advice of the Chief Medical Officer, our health table, and science. So that's what I'm sticking with. I'm not moving from health and science, and I'm going to read that article, and I'm going to bounce it off the health table and get their opinion on it. But again, I'm going to stick with the advice of the Chief Medical Officer of Health and the health experts.
And that being said, Premier, do you think you need to change your messaging a little bit? I know that Dr. David Williams had a bit of a reaction yesterday when he put the question out there. Is some of our messaging not clear? Is some of our messaging confusing, especially when you have, hospitalizations, ICU ventilators? Those are some good news on those today, but the number of cases going up. So I'm just curious, if you feel you need to improve your messaging a little bit, and if I could sneak this one in as well, why not test kids and students for schools and daycares and just that you mentioned yesterday? Can you explain that as well?
Well, first of all, I think our messaging has been pretty consistent, following the protocols of the Chief Medical Officer. When possible, do the self-isolating, keep the 6 meter, 2 meter distance. And that's been our message, and we aren't getting off that message. So, and as for the kids, I'm going to pass that over to the Minister of Health.
What's Minister of Health know about kids? Don't even minister children
That is a very important question, and I can tell you that in a couple of situations in the daycare centers where there was a staff member that had COVID-19, that permission was asked of the children's parents for the children to be tested, and they were tested. You have to have a special nurse or practitioner to be able to conduct those tests, because in small children it's very delicate with the nasal swabs that have to be administered. But that is something that we will continue to do if we see an outbreak. But of course, it's really important that you get the parents' permission first of all, and that is something that we worked on with the Ministry of Education, and that happened. But you're right, the situation with children is very important. The response for children may be somewhat different. We've seen the symptoms that may look like Kawasaki syndrome that we are looking out for. So we want to make sure that as we open up the economy, we are making sure that we do testing in all of the right areas, and further testing of children will be required. But of course, parental permission needs to be obtained first.
Next question. Next question comes from Ryan Mocha from Global News. Please go ahead.
Hi there, Premier. Your government has put restrictions on short-term rentals during the pandemic as part of the emergency orders. Will that be changing anytime soon? Will people be able to rent vacation properties now that we're heading into summer?
Well, we're going to have to look at stage 2 or stage 3 even, and I'll be able to get back to you on an answer. I just can't answer that right now. And we'll find out over the next little while. I know some people are pushing for it, but again, we'll get that answer for you.
If the rules aren't possibly going to change anytime soon, is the government considering any measures to assist property owners who rely on these vacation rentals as their main source of income?
Well, I can't say that right now. Again, we're going to have to see how the numbers go over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully the numbers will be going down, and we'll be able to open that up.
You bite me right now.
Question.
I'm going to smash you
Next
for
question
receiving.
comes from Lisa Schick from CBC News. Please go ahead.
Oh, you little motherfucker.
Hi there, Premier. First question I'd like to ask you is not specific to COVID-19, but is in the news today. CBC has been trying to get copies of your mandate letters to cabinet ministers for nearly 2 years since you were elected, and now your government is fighting it in court. Throughout the pandemic, you've touted how transparent your government has been during COVID-19. So why are you spending tax dollars going to court to keep those mandate letters to cabinet ministers secret from the public?
Well, that's in front of the courts, and the courts have to make a decision. And anything in front of the courts, I can't answer. No other elected official can answer while it's in front of the courts.
Well,
what the fuck?
Thanks. And my next question is for Health Minister Elliott.
I was just rinsing out
hospitals can start to resume scheduled surgeries, but we're hearing a lot of hospitals actually aren't allowed to, either because they don't have the required 30-day supply of PPE on hand, or because their occupancy rates are too high. So what exactly is the province going to do to help these hospitals get more PPE so they can open up more beds? Well, there are a number of issues that need to be answered by each individual hospital before they're able to resume scheduled procedures. They are preparing their readiness assessments now and submitting them on a regional basis for approval. There are a number of factors that come into play here. One is the number of people that they already have deployed. If it's a hospital that is deploying people to long-term care, they need to make sure that they have 15% additional capacity in case there's a surge in COVID cases. There's the availability of surgical drugs. PPE is part of it, absolutely. There are a number of things that have to be answered. So we are waiting to receive the responses that are now being reviewed on a regional basis in many parts of the province. And we do have the assistance. We are supplying PPE to hospitals, but of course, if they're going to do the scheduled procedures, they will need to have their own supply and not tap into the pandemic supply. So we are supplying them regularly with what they need for pandemic purposes, but they also have their own supplies with their own suppliers. So we expect that they will be able to continue to do that, and we are able to assist them if they need any help in securing them, if they need any contact leads. So it is a more complicated process than I would have foreseen, that we want to get moving with elected or scheduled procedures. We have several thousand behind in that. I know that for people that are waiting cancer surgery, for example, or heart surgery, any kind of surgery, it's an extremely difficult time for them. But we want to start those procedures as soon as possible, and as soon as the regional plans are approved, they will come directly to us, and we will get moving with them. Thank you.
Next question. Next question comes from Faiza Amin from City News. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Premier and Minister. I wanted to ask you a little bit about ODSP recipients. Prior to COVID, they were already concerned that the rates were well below the poverty line, and people were already struggling then. The federal government is providing about $2,000 under the STIR program compared to the $1,169 under ODSP. And so if these people apply for STIR, there's a good chance that their rent will increase. So why hasn't there been an increase in rent for ODSP recipients? And what do you say to those who are struggling financially even more during this pandemic?
Well, it's very tough. I've talked to many people on ODSP, and we appreciate the offer the federal government has given. We also have a program that if people are working, like let's say 10 hours or 15 hours a week, they aren't going to be punished. Actually, they'll get 50% of the serve, I believe, and help them out that way as well. But it's a tough time for everyone, and it's very tough for people on ODSP as well, along with so many other people. So we have an eye on that, and we're going to help them any way we can.
I wanted to also ask about contact tracing. We've seen Alberta implementing a voluntary app for this purpose. Is Ontario considering doing the same? Can you explain a little bit what system is in place for contact tracing and how many cases you're able to track back to the source?
Well, before I hand it over to the minister, I just want to give you some stats. Between the Ministry of Health and Public Health, along with the federal government, we have over 2,000 contact tracers out there on a daily basis, being able to trace and track the people. And as for Alberta, the uplift is about 11%. I was talking to Premier Kenny yesterday. It's just getting people on board to utilize it. And even in let's use Singapore, for example, because that came up in the conversation yesterday, and they have a pretty regimented system. And even over in Singapore, the maximum they've been able to get is about 25% of the people to go online. Privacy is very, very important, and any app that doesn't have a privacy area in it, then that's going to be difficult. People believe in privacy. I believe in privacy. So we have to have the right app, and I'll pass this over to the Minister of Health.
We are actively looking for the right app for Ontario right now
My
for
grandfather showed me all this shit.
management of COVID-19 to indicate to people that if they've been in contact with someone with COVID, that gives them the ability to then follow up with their own health provider. But in terms of contact management, generally, we have had hundreds of people come forward to help public health with contact tracing. Medical students, others have come forward to do that, and we are very confident that we are reaching over 92% of the people with contact tracing within 24 hours. Is there room to do better? Absolutely. We're continuing to work on that. But we are doing active contact tracing right now manually, but there are other technological aids, of course, that we can use, and we are looking for the right app, but one, of course, that's going to work with the rest of the country.
Next question.
Next question comes from Laura Stone from the Globe and Mail. Please go ahead. Hi, Premier.
Hey, Laura.
I wanted to ask you more about what the Prime Minister announced this morning, and he did say that federal employees are now helping out in Ontario. So what exactly did you ask for help to do in Ontario? And given the challenges we have with testing in this province, should this have happened sooner?
Well, we've already had help from the federal government. They're offering more help in the way of paying for the testing and the swabs and the reagents. We appreciate that. I believe they sent over 224 tracers, I believe, about a week ago. So all the help is appreciated, but we'll take as much as we can get right now because it's absolutely critical. And we're going to continue focusing on tracing and tracking these cases. But the whole country's on it right now. And we had a good conversation with the Prime Minister and the Premiers yesterday. We've put together a committee to make sure that we work through this and have an app that can communicate to each other within each province.
And you've said a few times now that you won't hesitate to shut down the economy again or scale things back if the numbers don't improve in Ontario.
Yeah.
I'm curious about how concerned are you that the public will just tune you out now? The weather is improving, things have begun to reopen. Members of your Congress are pushing for expanded patios. So can you put the genie back in the bottle once people have gone a bit of freedom? How could you scale things back?
Well, all the confidence in the world of the 14.5 billion people, we're here in this position right now because of all the great work that the people listening to the chief medical officer and the protocols. So I'm so grateful for everyone listening and businesses stepping up to the plate. And it's just been a real team effort. Team Ontario effort, and they're amazing. So let's see where we go on this. I think of it 24/7, and we're seeing some peaks and valleys, but hopefully we're going to see the trend go down because I know the last few days it's gone up, and it's concerning. I mean, these are things that you're up all night thinking about. It's tough.
Next question.
Next question comes from Sean Jeffords from the Canadian Press. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Premier.
Hi, Sean.
The health community in Windsor has announced today that it's going to start random COVID testing in that community with almost a spot check type model where the paramedics go out, they set up in a public place in a parking lot, you need to start testing people for COVID who want to be tested and have their health information with them. I'm wondering your reaction to this plan.
This is
something you support, and do you think it's feasible to roll it out across Ontario?
Yeah, well, we're going to be rolling out across Ontario. I'll just tell you the directive that the chief medical officer has sent out for this weekend, that we're going into the seniors' homes, testing the seniors. We're testing all the staff there. We're going back into long-term care. We're checking with the staff and the residents as well. There's one thing to test once, but we have to continue testing. We're going into the frontline healthcare workers, and we're going to test the asymptomatic and symptomatic people there. So it's just ongoing testing. I said we're going to ramp it up. We're going to ramp it up. Then we're going to go into communities where there's, as I say, the hot spots, and that's really the urban centers around Toronto that we've seen. But I congratulate the people. The more testing, the better. So way to go, Windsor, and the public health unit out there. You're doing a great job. Keep going. We're going to expand this right across the province, and we will. I'm just on these numbers, constantly pushing the system, and we'll get there. As sure as I'm here, we're on this.
Right in the middle.
Premier, by way of follow-up on testing, I've spoken to some epidemiologists over the past few days who have said that your government
I did all this wire stuff in court in case I ever take it apart.
And that early on, restrictive guidelines really entrenched views of people across the province about being able to get a test. And in effect, people think they can't get a test, so they are not even going to try. I'm wondering how you would respond to those criticisms. And are you planning some sort of advertising campaign to convince Ontarians to go out and get tested for COVID-19?
Well, we are doing an advertising campaign. You'll see that roll out, and indeed in these hot areas, if I got to make robocalls to get people out, I will. We have a strategy. We're moving forward with that strategy to make sure we get as many people tested as possible. We encourage people, if you have symptoms, go to the assessment centers. A lot of assessment centers, I think we have 144, I believe, around the province. Go and get tested. We encourage you. No one's going to be refused. Please go there. I drive by one of the assessment centers into work every morning, and there's just no lineups. please go out and get tested. It's absolutely critical. It's absolutely critical. Outside of going in there and getting people in their homes or bringing them down, we need to pick up the advertising. 100%, we will pick up the advertising.
Last question.
Last.
That question comes from Colin DeMello from CTV News. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, Premier.
Please make a joke about best for last.
So, are you telling people now if they are asymptomatic? You have the platform here. A lot of people are watching. If you're asymptomatic, can you go into a COVID-19 testing center and get a test?
Well, we're asking people with symptoms to go into the assessment center. We are going to be testing the frontline healthcare workers this weekend.
What have you been saying? Exactly what he just asked all day. I'm confused.
If you have symptoms, go in there. We are launching a program next week that will be going into areas, as I mentioned yesterday, everything from trucking associations to different sectors, automotive processing plants. We're going to be going into those areas as well and testing everyone. But as for now, this weekend, the plan is we're going into senior centers, senior retirement homes, and testing staff and residents. We're going to follow up again with long-term care, frontline workers there, and all the healthcare workers as well. So we're going to be going hard all weekend. I'll be here. We're going to be following up to make sure this is happening.
Okay, thank you. And this weekend, a lot of people are potentially going to be going to a retail store across the province. This is a masking-related question. It's not mandatory right now. It's a recommendation. Should businesses have the ability to deny access to somebody who refuses to wear a mask?
Any business has the right to refuse anyone. That's their business. I highly encourage that people put on a face shield. I know there's two big retailers, grocery retailers, that you won't get in without a face shield of some sort. It just protects everyone. It protects other people as well. So it's so important. If you have a face covering, please wear it. And that's the advice from our provincial chief medical officer, the federal chief medical officer. So please just wear a face shield when you can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you've been listening to Premier Doug Ford in his daily briefing here on 680 News. The Premier on the back of the Prime Minister's announcement today saying that they have agreed now to put together a contact tracing table to share information on methods and data. The Premier also announcing the establishment of the Ontario Tools Grant Program to help apprentices in the skilled trades.
Time now for traffic. Let's check in with Carrie Prunskis. This report is brought to you by ExploreNet Internet. Westbound on the 401, we had a problem approaching the 427 that cleared away not too long ago, so it's still a busy drive on the westbound 401. Delays from approaching Islington and the Express through towards the 427, and then things improved from that point. Eastbound on the 401, that's backed up from the 427 to the 400, Express and Collectors. Northbound on the 427 at Finch, the left lane is closed for construction. Traffic is jammed from Rexdale, and there's also construction on the northbound 404 from north of Highway 7 to north of 16th Avenue. The left lane is closed, so a busy drive northbound 404 from the 407 to north of 16th Avenue. Northbound on the 400 approaching Dunlop, the left lane closed there for Robert, and you'll find a heavy backup from Mapleview. Getting around on city streets, northbound Bayview approaching the 407. There's construction blocking at least one lane here, so northbound Bayview, it's jammed up from John to approaching the 407. And the east of the city, northbound on the 35-115 at the split at the 35 at Wilcox. Left lane is closed for construction, so heavy delay from the 407. Accelerate your internet with ExploreNet LTE service. Now with unlimited data. Visit ExploreNet.com for details. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
A warm, sunny day for us today. Just some clouds this afternoon, fair weather clouds, and even a little touch of humidity. The guaranteed high 22. For tonight, mainly cloudy and 14. For today, the guaranteed high 22.
And right now in downtown Toronto, it's sunny and 22 degrees. We got some sunshine and 23 out of Pearson. 680 News Time, 133.
Prime Minister says the federal government will be there to give provinces the funding and manpower they need to significantly boost COVID-19 testing and contact tracing amid the pandemic.
And with those details, our Parliament Hill reporter, Cormac McSweeney.
We're not out of the woods yet.
That's the warning, as Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says increasing testing and contact tracing is an urgent priority as the country prepares for a possible second wave of COVID-19. Trudeau says the federal government is ready to fund the efforts to boost this testing and data sharing, and thousands of federal employees now stand ready to help provinces with tracing by making calls to track down people who may have been in contact with someone who tested positive. So far, Ontario has accepted the offer, but not Quebec. Those are the two hardest hit provinces. Trudeau says these offers will give confidence to Canadians and businesses that the country's on the right foot.
They need to know that we have a coordinated approach to gradually reopen that is rooted in science, evidence, and the ability to rapidly detect and control any future outbreaks.
The chief public health officer has warned it may not take much to spark a second wave, which could be worse than the first. The Prime Minister also announcing a new online tool on the government's website that will help people find the supports they need by answering a few questions and then being directed to the benefits they may qualify for. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
They not, the only part that I thought
big increase in new COVID-19 cases in Ontario today, as the province tries to track where exactly most of the cases are coming from. 680's Alex Bloomfield joins us live with those latest numbers. Alex.
Yeah, Sarah, for fourth straight day, the number of new cases in Ontario raising the 7-day average. 441 new cases today, the highest number we've seen in 2 weeks. 28 more deaths, pushing the province's death toll over the milestone of 2,000. But testing or lack thereof has been in the spotlight of late. 11,276 completed in this latest period, the most this week, but still well below what we saw last week. And what the province claims is its top-end threshold of 20,000. Premier Ford speaking moments ago at his press conference about the plan for testing for this coming weekend.
We're going into the seniors' homes, testing the seniors. We're testing all the staff there. We're going back into long-term care. We're checking with the staffs and the residences as well. We're going into the frontline healthcare workers. So it's just ongoing testing. We're going to ramp it up. Then we're going to go into communities where there's, as I say, the hotspots.
That's now that random program has not been rolled out yet for just general community testing. Anyone with symptoms, though, can show up at a testing center and receive a test. The city of Toronto taking a step toward rectifying the problem of contact tracing. Some 65% of Ontario cases can't be pinned to a specific source. So Toronto now striking a new deal with the Registered Nurses Association that will see dozens of RNs and nursing students added to the public health team working on case and contact management over the next 3 months. Reporting live, I'm Alex Bloomfield. Well, a pair of Toronto City councillors are now sounding the alarm about the future of public transit in the wake of this pandemic. Shelley Carroll and Mike Layton urging Ottawa to help the TTC deal with the financial burden brought on by the low ridership. Now, Carroll says without support, transit riders will not be able to practice their physical distancing.
Right now, we need to put 100% of the service on the road just to safely serve a small percentage of the ridership. If we have 40 to 50% of the riders back on the subway, that may seem to people like, oh, you've only got 50% of the people back, but we can't distance them without support.
Now, the federal government has called on provinces to take the lead on providing transit operating funds, saying that it is not within federal jurisdiction.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News. It's 1:37. And there will be a unique opportunity starting tomorrow to take your family to the Toronto Zoo. 680's Cam Dorrit joins us from a special preview today with all the details.
The entire ride is about 45 minutes. It costs $44 for a car with 2 or less people. There are also discounts for members. And it feels as close to normal as things do these days. There's plenty of animals to see, including an awesome moment where you drive through a cave and come face to face with a lion. I do recommend bringing a friend to get some photos because it's not only tough, but illegal to film and drive at the same time. There's also a podcast to listen to as you go through. After catching a break.
They just make shit up to go.
Know that they have found food to share. No rules says not the same as spending a day at the zoo, but it's a great alternative for animal lovers and families looking for something to do this summer. And the air conditioning in the car never hurts. But it is popular. Our Jordan Kerr jumped in the queue for tickets.
Car. Oh, that's illegal because he said no, it's not.
583rd in line. So good luck.
It's illegal to stop somebody from coming in public,
you can
whether
watch
they're
the
driving
videos
or
of
not.
today's preview
You're
of the Toronto
committing a
Zoo,
criminal
complete
act.
with adorable animals on our Instagram page.
Well, if you are hitting the roads or the waterways this weekend, just a word of warning from the OPP.
While life is far from normal, the usual cottage-bound routes are seeing some extra volume today. OPP Sergeant Carrie Schmidt says during the pandemic, they've seen an increase in extreme speeders. Already about 100 stunt driving charges laid this past week just in the GTA.
Please be careful out there. Please drive with
whether it's right or not, it's
attention on what's going on around you. We have 4 fatal collisions across the province over the Victoria Day long weekend.
With the sunny and warm weather this weekend, many will also be hitting the water.
I heard it on the radio.
Factors that we continue to see with people not wearing their life jackets and they're involved in an incident. They go in the water and they never surface.
All the pedestrian flashing things, those are actually the
story out
drivers.
of Newmarket, where a 99-year-old war veteran is taking this pandemic one step at a time. Literally. Our Moment Qureshi explains.
99-year-old George Markell lives in a retirement home in Newmarket. He's been in Canada since 1950, but his daughter Sylvia tells me it's been a long road for her dad, who was born in Russia, drafted into the army at age 19, serving in World War II, spending several years held in prison camps.
Digital cable. How many of them watch news?
He says that we are so very, very blessed in this country. There's nothing to hold you back but yourself.
She says nothing is holding him back now as he tries to walk 100 kilometers by his 100th birthday with the goal of raising $100,000 for Sunnybrook and South Lake hospitals.
He just wanted to give back in some way. So it's a win-win situation because he's exercising, but also getting donations for excellent causes.
He says he's already halfway to his walking goal, but still has a ways to go with his fundraising. You can find the link to donate at 680news.com. I'm Oman Qureshi.
Well, now the 680 News gas price update and process. Price of gas should drop a penny at midnight tonight, down to 94.9 cents a liter.
680 News Time, 1:40.
Working from home? On the couch? With kids? Yep, this is your new normal. So isn't it time you got a new home office suite? Turn your basement into a beautiful home office suite from just $4.90 a month. Fully functional. Bathroom, gym, bar, whatever you want in just 3 weeks. Save money, save time, and increase the value of your home. For a virtual consultation, visit agmrenovations.com.
And by the way, we do bathroom renovations too.
680 News Time, 1:41.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Pruskus. This report is brought to you by the Canadian Women's Foundation. Be very careful on the eastbound 401 just east of Port Union in the collectors. In the left lane, there's a stalled vehicle. A tow truck just got to the scene. So a little more attention being drawn to this vehicle here because I saw several near accidents. And this is just an accident waiting to happen here. Eastbound 401 east of Port Union in the collectors. Make sure that you're in the right-hand lanes because even if you're in lane number 2, you're going to have to dodge the people that are trying to get out of that left lane. This is a very serious situation here. But again, the tow truck is on the scene now. Other than that, eastbound on the 401, it's busy from the 427 to the 400. Both express and collectors are slow going through that stretch. A decent drive, though, on the westbound 401. I haven't spotted any problems along that route. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, that's filling in from Eglinton to York Mills. And then northbound 404 is jammed from the 407 to north of 16th Avenue. There's construction through this stretch in the left lane. If you're heading into Barrie, northbound 400, a heavy backup from Mapleview to approaching Dunlop. That's where the left lane is closed for some road work. And also northbound on the 427 at Finch, the left lane closed there for construction. So traffic is jammed up from Rexdale. And it heads up east of the city, northbound on the 115 at the 35 split. A left lane is closed for construction. So traffic is really heavy from just north of the 407. Vulnerable women and girls need shelter, crisis support, and programs now more than ever. Support them through COVID-19. Visit CanadianWomen.org to help. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Sunshine, and it could be the warmest day we've had so far this year. Even a little touch of humidity. The guaranteed high 22 for tonight, mainly cloudy 14, and for the weekend, sun and cloud 22 Saturday, 22 on Sunday, feeling like 26, but heads up for thunderstorms Sunday. For today, the guaranteed Indeed, high 22.
Right now in downtown Toronto, it's sunny and 21. Plenty of sunshine and now 22 out at Pearson Airport. 680 News Time, 143.
Now the Dynamic Funds Market Minute, live from the Business Center. Here's Chris McCusker.
Well, Sarah, the TSX is moving higher. It's up by 16 points, 14,901. Okay, it's a very modest advance, but it's out of the red. The Dow is still down 91 points. The S&P up by a single point, and the NASDAQ up by 18. So a somewhat improving situation on the North American markets towards the end of the week, although, as mentioned, we are talking about very, very modest moves. Gold is higher by $13, $17.35. Oil is down 84 cents, $33.08. And the Canadian dollar off by 28 100ths, 71.38 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker.
Research shows that investors who work with an advisor accumulate 3.9 times more assets than those who don't. Advice matters, now more than ever. Learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
Doctors are good people and only want what's good for their patients. So if they say you can't work, I believe them, and so should your long-term disability insurer. My name is Aaron Waxman, and if your long-term disability claim has been denied, call me 416-661-4878. And don't worry about upfront legal fees, because there are none. At my law firm, we only get paid when you get paid. And before you call, you should always remember that there are no bad questions. 416-661-4878 or on your cell phone at pound LTD.
We all love well-drained lawns, but did you know they're harmful to pollinators? By naturalizing our grass-covered landscapes, we can help declining bee and butterfly populations recover. So invite life back into our yards. Make gardens beautiful and beneficial by adding native plants. Encourage your municipality to do the same. Mowing less and adding native vegetation to roadsides, power corridors, and other rights of way. Join the Canadian Wildlife Federation in saying, grow it, don't mow it. Together, we can be part of positive change for pollinators. Learn more at helpsthepollinators.ca.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
20 degrees under sunshine in downtown Toronto. Good afternoon from the 680 News Broadcast Center. I'm Sarah Parrott.
And I'm Steve Roberts. Here are the top stories on this Friday afternoon.
The Trudeau government will foot the bill for COVID-19 testing across this country. Prime Minister Trudeau says his government will also help provinces track the contacts of those who test positive and facilitate sharing data between regions. Trudeau says testing and contact tracing are essential because the virus remains a serious health threat. Meantime, 441 new cases being reported today in Ontario, which is once again falling short of its testing target, completing only 11,000 tests. The new numbers come as we find out the province hasn't been able to figure out the origin of exposure for about 70% of patients. Time for 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Andrew Nye.
Hey, Sarah, they won the Cup last year and were first in the West when the NHL was paused in March, but the break due to COVID-19 shouldn't hurt any momentum the St. Louis Blues had. That from Captain Alex Pietrangelo, who also told Good Show the rest is good for them, and they're using this break as an opportunity for this year and next year. The NHLPA is voting today on the 2014 proposal to return to play. And when that day comes, Patrick Laine expects he'll be a little rusty. During a video conference call with reporters today, the Winnipeg Jets sniper said, quote, "My game is probably going to look terrible since I haven't skated for 2 months. It's always a struggle to come back after a long period when you haven't skated." Longtime Utah Jazz coach and Hall of Famer Jerry Sloan has passed away at the age of 78 due to complications from Parkinson's and dementia. Sloan coached the Jazz from 1989 to 2011, including back-to-back trips to the finals in 97 and 98. He won over 1,200 games with the team. He also played 11 seasons in the NBA, 10 of those with Chicago. In Conversation with Ron McLean returns tonight at 7 on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and Sportsnet YouTube and Facebook. Ron will be joined by Megan Augusta and Tyler Stewart. Sport at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
What the fuck happened?
Alpine Credits. I'm looking for a home renovation loan, but do I get to see the rates first?
Yep, we're 100% transparent.
Okay, what's your greatest fear?
Dancing in public.
What do you find hard about relationships?
Being honest about when I'm hurt.
Can I have a loan?
Oof, yes. If you own your home, you're approved.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved, and we're afraid of dancing in public but not of showing our rates. They're posted at alpinecredits.ca. Alpine Credits, Some conditions apply. Visitor license 12616.
We're two men and a truck. So, you're moving to a new home, and all that's left to do is to call a mover you know you can trust. Well, naturally, you think two men and a truck, since you know they have lots of men and lots of trucks. They'll wrap, pack, and move everything you want. With a 96% referral rating and the professionalism you can trust, the choice is simple. We're two men and a truck. We're open for business. Two men and a truck, the movers who care.
680 News Time, 148.
Well, one of the baby foxes living under the boardwalk in the beach has been killed, apparently by a dog, and that's now prompting an urgent plea from the Toronto Wildlife Centre. Here's our Kevin Meisner.
City staff are posted on the boardwalk here, and fencing is up, but still, one of the fox babies has died. The Toronto Wildlife Centre says it happened last weekend. The fox kit suffering wounds consistent with a dog attack. Rob, walking his dog on leash, says too many gawkers with dogs off leash have been coming down here.
Well, it's very disappointing, you know. There's a lot of idiots out there, and I think that people's got to be smart about it. And they fence it off, so just watch from a social distance and let them be.
Maria is shocked to hear that people have been hand feeding or touching the fox kits.
Yeah, I heard the same thing from the wildlife, that people had been going in there at night.
The Toronto Wildlife Centre says the death of the fox baby is the result of losing their natural fear because of too much attention combined with an aggressive dog. On the beach's boardwalk, I'm Kevin Meisner.
With the federal government spending more than $1 billion to work with other nations on the search for a COVID-19 vaccine, the country's spy agency is now issuing a warning about international espionage. Mike Epple explains from the 680 Business Center.
A bulletin obtained by the Globe and Mail from the Canadian Securities Intelligence Service says there is a rising threat of stolen technology or data, with Ottawa encouraging Canadian researchers to work with those in other countries susceptible to hostile state-sponsored activities, secretly looking for strategic or competitive information on things like quantum computing, data analytics, and manufacturing. The spy agency did not identify the countries that may target COVID-19 research in this country, but a similar bulletin from the FBI in the U.S. released on the same day earlier this month named China, accusing Beijing of seeking valuable intellectual property and public health information related to vaccines, treatments, and testing. Russia and Iran have also been red flagged. The Globe reports the CSIS bulletin specifically warns smaller companies, perhaps struggling with financial issues, to be on high alert for investment offers as a way into their networks. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Epple.
680 News Time, 151.
Time for traffic and weather together all at once. Here's Gary Prunskis. This report is brought to you by mymuskokacottages.com. Eastbound on the 401, it's slow going from the 427 to the 400 Express and Collectors. And we still have this problem eastbound 401 just east of Port Union and the Collectors. The left lane is blocked because of a stalled vehicle. There is a tow truck, and police have arrived on the scene here as well. So that is going to limit the amount of vehicles that have almost crashed into this. I saw several close calls with this issue. But again, this problem eastbound 401 east of Port Union and the Collectors not causing a delay. It's just the left lane that's blocked, so be careful. Westbound on the 401, looks like we have a pretty good drive on that route across the GTA, not spotting any problems or delays. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, that's busy with volume from Eglinton to York Mills. Then it's jammed on the northbound 404 from approaching the 407 to north of 16th Avenue. Construction north of Highway 7 in the left lane. Northbound on the 400, approaching Dunlop, the left lane closed there for roadwork, and traffic is very heavy from Mapleview. Northbound on the 427 at Finch, the left lane is closed for construction. Just a minor delay now as you approach Finch. And east of the city, northbound on Highway 115 at the 35 split, left lane is closed for construction. A heavy backup from just north of the 407. Muskoka Realtor Bob Clark offers buyers a stunning portfolio of waterfront cottages to choose from. Experience lakeside luxury at its finest when you visit mymuskokacottages.com. And now with the extended forecast, here's Jill Taylor. Sunshine, the story, and lots of it. And it may even be the warmest day we've had so far this year. Even a touch of humidity. Guaranteed high 22 for tonight, mainly cloudy 14, and tomorrow sun and cloud 22. Sunday will feel like 26 with the humidity. Could get some isolated thunderstorms, and more of the same for Monday and Tuesday with humidex values in the low 30s. For today, the guaranteed high 22.
And right now in downtown Toronto, sunshine and 21. We got sunny conditions as well out of Pearson. Sunny and 22. 680 News Time 153. This extended forecast is brought to you by Pizza Pizza.
Pizza Pizza is delivering the new tamper-proof pizza box. Order any size pizza and receive it in a locked box that can only be opened by you. Safe, reliable delivery. That's Pizza Pizza.
What I love about PEO leadership right now is how well our members are supporting each other and rising to face the COVID-19 challenge. Paul Zadorsky, Senior Vice President, Crayola International. Business is all about being able to rapidly adapt to change, but how do you learn as fast as the world changes?
How come you don't have a peer?
Collective wisdom of some of Canada's top executives. Having that peer group and broader leadership community to lean on, it makes all the difference. The time to step up and lead is now. Go to PEO-leadership.com.
680 News Time 154. The warmest weather of the year so far is on the way this weekend, and pedestrians and cyclists who want to enjoy the sunshine will have more options. 680's Mitch Burke has more on the weather and some impending road closures.
The last thing anyone wants to hear amid these bizarre times, wind chill. Rest assured, the term we were still using last week is finally being traded out with humidity from here on out.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Why'd you say that? No, you're.
This morning,
that's how you do things. You introduce concepts like that.
The warmest
Next thing you know, the defense minister saying, "Oh yeah, there's aliens." Not even joking. Canadian defense
months, and people are being smart about it. It's long overdue, and I think 2020's been a tough year for everybody.
Now, physical distancing will be a little easier with road closures to give runners, walkers, and cyclists more room this weekend. 6 a.m. tomorrow until 11 Sunday night. The eastbound lanes of Lakeshore from Coxwell to Woodbine will be closed, along with the eastbound Lakeshore from Windermere to Stadium. No cars allowed. Also on Bayview from Mill Street to Rosedale Valley Road, and on River Street from Gerrard to Bayview. I'm Mitch Burke.
Coming up in 60 seconds, the business report with Chris McCusker.
680 News Time 155.
Asking for help isn't always easy, but getting it should be. At Scotiabank, it's easy to apply for financial relief for you or for your business. You can quickly request a payment deferral online or access other financial support options.
Up to this whole back down
We
here,
can
so
talk
put the battery in.
together about a personalized plan that will help you both today and tomorrow. Visit scotiabank.com/relief to learn more. Scotiabank.
At Global Pet Foods, we believe pets are undeniably part of the family. So we're excited to announce that our proudly Canadian, locally owned stores have reopened for in-store shopping. Health and safety is a top priority to us. That's why we are continuing to take extra precautions to keep our customers, their pets, and our dedicated staff safe. Find your local store today at globalpetfoods.com. Global Pet Foods, proudly supporting our local communities since 1976.
680 News Time 156.
Now the 680 News business report. Here's Chris McCusker. Well, Sarah, complete collapse in retail sales in Canada in March. StatsCan says there was a drop of 10% from February, with an estimated 40% of retailers forced to close during the month. And April could be worse, as those stores remain closed, at least for the most part. Josh Nye is senior economist at RBC.
Sales at auto dealers were down significantly, clothing retailers, sporting goods stores as well. And then folks were also driving less, so had a pretty substantial decline in gas station sales. One category where we did see an increase was in grocery stores, which I'm sure isn't a surprise to many people. Grocery store sales were up 25% in March when consumers were stocking up on essentials.
The Canadian dollar right now is down 26,100, 71.40 cents US. And the TSX has spent much of the day in the red. Right now it's higher by 29 points, 14,914. So it's looking at a gain this week of at least 1%. Shares in CAE down 4.5% to 19.21 a share. The flight simulator maker, which is Canadian-based, says profits fell 6% last quarter due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is not surprising. Anything travel-related, as we know, has taken a hit recently. That stock, though, working, let's say, against the grain on Bay Street. The gold stocks, though, are moving higher, with gold itself up by $12, $17.34. We've got oil pulling back from a 2-month high. It's down 79 cents, $33.13 a barrel.
Now, that's off the low for the day. It's a drop of 2.3%. And Western Canadian Select essentially moving in tandem with U.S. oil. It is down 2.4% to 24.02. Now, in the U.S., we've got a mixed picture there. It's also been a winning week stateside.
What is going
the
on
Dow is
here?
up by 70 points.
I
The
can't let go of
S&P
it
is
till I
down
get
by
the
2
fucking
points, and the
keys out of
Nasdaq
it,
up by
eh?
20 points.
I
Now,
cannot
the
walk
Nasdaq
away
is
from
still
the
the only
goddamn
market in
thing.
North America looking at a year-to-date gain, and a pretty substantial year-to-date gain, up by about 3.5%. We also got earnings in today from Deere & Company, where revenue plunged, but the company still beat expectations. Sales also beat estimates. That stock right now is down by 1% to 141.44. I'm Chris McCusker. Business continues at 26 and 56 or anytime at 680news.com. If your small business needs support, Canada Post is here to help with additional savings on shipping, valuable marketing offers, and more. Visit CanadaPost.ca/thinksmall today.
We've all heard those home renovation stories. Hi, I'm Jeannie Becker. Georgian Renovations has created Smart Reno to offer a home renovation that's quick, easy, and affordable. Simply choose from the Smart Reno packages or work with award-winning designers to create a vision that is truly your own. With a guaranteed price and time frame, it's never been easier to transform your home into something you'll fall in love with again. Get your free, no-obligation instant estimate today at GeorgianReno.com.
Unless you really fucked up the house.
Taking a look at some regional weather conditions in Brampton, sunny 22. Bradford, sunny and 25 degrees. It's partly cloudy, 22 in St. Catharines. Uxbridge has sunshine, 23 there. A few clouds, 21 degrees in Hamilton. In Milton, it's partly cloudy, 24. Downtown Toronto, it is sunny and 20.
Steel panel behind it.
The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto.
Where it tells you to put the wires, is exposed. So I don't put the wires.
Breaking news, traffic, and weather.
Because that hole goes right through with nothing in front of it. That's perfect. There's nothing in front of it. I can see when I put the wires.
Good afternoon. This is Friday, the 22nd of May.
Good afternoon. Here's what's making news this hour.
It's open right here. Where it tells you to put it.
It's committing funding and manpower to try and help the provinces boost their testing and contact tracing for COVID-19.
441 new cases of COVID-19. Ontario's weekly average rising for a fourth straight day, even as testing lags behind. The Premier now urging anyone with symptoms to go to an assessment center.
Keep your hands inside the ride at all times. The Toronto Zoo opens back up with a new drive-through safari. He survived being a prisoner of war in World War II and now at the age of 99, a Newmarket man is trying to walk 100 kilometers to raise money for COVID-19 relief.
The NHLPA continues to vote on the league's proposal for a 2014 playoff format, and Jerry Sloan has passed away. Sports at 15.
U.S. markets are now mixed heading into a long weekend, while Bay Street is looking at a modest advance. That's even with oil in the red. Business at 26.
City News Time, 2:01.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the one. Here's Gary Prinskin.
The report is brought to you by 407 ATR. Had a couple calls from traffic spotters westbound on the QEW, west of Cochrane. A wheelbarrow reported in the right lane. MTO is looking at the cameras right now.
I couldn't even guess
on the right
wheelbarrow.
shoulder, so they likely picked that up. And I'm not seeing any delay here
Right
at this point. Westbound QEW, just west of Cochrane. Be careful. There's also another truck on the right shoulder, possibly that it was that driver that lost it. But police are on the scene again, and looks like just a little bit of a delay as well on the Cochrane ramp to the westbound QEW. So be mindful using that ramp. If you're heading northbound on the DVP,
you can't do that, sir. What? I stopped and picked it up.
To York Mills, and then a slow drive on the northbound 404, jammed up from approaching the 407 to north of 16th Avenue. There's construction north of Highway 7. The left lane is blocked. Northbound on the 400, approaching Dunlop. The left lane closed there for road work, and that's leading to a backup from Mapleview. Eastbound on the 401, busy from the 427 to the 400 express and collectors, but after that it's wide open, and it looks like that problem eastbound 401 east of Port Union and the collectors has cleared away. I've just got word from Toronto Transportation about a crash on city streets. Westbound Shepherd, west of Keele, the right lane is blocked. Emergency crews are on the scene. And east of the city, northbound on the 115 at the 35 split, the left lane is closed for construction. Traffic is jammed from north of the 407.
407 ETR is helping communities and hospitals with a $5.2 million donation to United Way and GTHA hospitals. Learn more at 407etr.com. And now with the forecast, here's Bill Taylor.
Plenty of sunshine again today, just some afternoon cloud. The guaranteed high 22 degrees, even a little touch of humidity today. For tonight, mainly cloudy 14. For today, the guaranteed high 22. Right now in downtown Toronto, we've got sunshine. It's 20 degrees. 680 News Time, 2:03.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is committing cash and manpower to help the provinces massively increase their COVID-19 testing and contact tracing.
There's also a new tool to help Canadians access benefits and supports they need during the pandemic. With more, here's our Parliament Hill reporter, Cormac McSweeney.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is promising the federal government will foot the bill for provincial efforts to significantly boost testing for COVID-19
so we can protect Canadians and effectively manage future outbreaks.
This comes amid serious concerns around testing. The goal is for 60,000 tests a day, but provinces aren't even hitting half that. Trudeau also says the feds will be providing much-needed resources to help provinces with contact tracing so that officials can find people who've been in contact with someone who's been infected.
Our government has trained federal employees who can make 3,600 contact tracing calls a day, 7 days a week. Statistics Canada has also an additional 1,700 interviewers ready to go who can make up to 20,000 calls a day.
The feds have also created a new online tool on the government's website to help Canadians struggling through the pandemic apply for benefits. And Conservative leader Andrew Scheer continues to press the government to return to regular sittings of the House of Commons.
Do our jobs in the House while still respecting public health guidelines.
He's proposing a motion to declare Parliament an essential service. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill. Now, at the provincial level, we are seeing another big increase in new COVID-19 cases today as the Ford government tries to get testing back on track. 680's Alex Bluefield joining us live with those latest numbers and more. Alex?
Yes, Steve, today's new case count is the highest we've seen since 2 Fridays ago, 441. Ontario also reporting 28 more deaths. That pushes the death toll past the 2,000 mark. But it's testing that's been the focus this week. A dramatic drop in daily tests began Monday. 11,276 tests completed this latest period. That's up 5,000 from Monday's low, but still 5,000 below last week's levels. The Premier says the province is moving on a couple of fronts to restore that. They are going to be holding testing blitzes in seniors' residences as well as some long-term care homes again, and amongst some groups of frontline healthcare workers this weekend. And the Premier is issuing his clearest call yet for those with symptoms.
We encourage people, if you have symptoms, go to the assessment centers. A lot of assessment centers, I think we have 100.
And you heard the guy still asking.
So people go get tested. We encourage it. No one's going to be refused.
Previously, the province's website said do not visit an assessment center until you have been referred by a healthcare professional. We are told now, confirmed to 680 News by the Premier's office, that will be updated. So if you have symptoms, you can just show up at one of these assessment centers and be tested. Random testing, the Premier hopes, should begin in the next week. Reporting live from Alex Bloomfield.
Starting tomorrow, there will be a unique opportunity to go to the zoo amid these pandemic restrictions. And we can guarantee you'll probably learn a few things as well, just like our Cam Dorrit, who joins us with a preview.
It's a pretty good deal. Trading walking for driving, the heat for air conditioning. It almost feels normal going through the zoo and saw rhinos, monkeys, lions, flamingos, even a few rogue geese that I don't think we're part of the tour, but hey, always appreciate it. It's a great idea for the family. You can drive, the kids can snap some pics. You can also learn a little something thanks to a guided tour you can play easily from your phone.
Remember that fucking joint, man? I know I didn't smoke it. It has to be on the floor here somewhere.
And Luca. Jaguars are the largest of South America's big cats, and the third largest cats in the world.
The entire tour takes around 45 minutes, and there is no stopping, so make sure everyone uses the washroom before you start the car. It costs $44 for a car with 2 people, $59 for a car with 3 or more. At the Toronto Zoo, I'm Cam Dorrit.
Well, turns out one retailer will not be accepting cash as its stores begin to reopen. Our business editor, Chris McCusker, explains.
In a notice on its website, Lululemon has outlined plans for reopening after shutting down stores in North America on March 16th. And one big change, no cash, at least for now.
Yeah,
Employees at the Canadian-based yoga pants maker will be wearing face coverings and will have daily health screenings. High-touch surfaces will be thoroughly cleaned frequently, and hand sanitizer will be readily available for customers. As well, a contactless buy online, pick up in store is still available at select locations. At the Business Center, I'm Chris McCusker. Toronto Premium Outlets in Halton Hills is back in business, but it's not business as usual. It reopened today after being closed for about 9 weeks because of the pandemic restrictions. The property management team has put together a set of safety protocols, including temperature checks at the entrances if a shopper wants to be tested. As well, there will be enhanced cleaning with an emphasis on high-traffic areas, including restrooms, escalators, stairs, and doorknobs. There will also be hand sanitizing stations throughout the property and signs promoting safety guidelines. Mall management says Toronto Premium Outlets employs more than 1,000 people and contributes $5.3 million in property tax revenue to the region.
You're listening to 680 News. Well, you can ask Carrie Prunskis in the traffic center. It is far from a normal cottage season, but there are still a lot of people that are heading north today, and the OPP has some advice for you.
OPP Sergeant Carrie Schmidt has been traveling on the 400 today.
And I've seen plenty of people pulling ATVs, pulling trailers, pulling boats, campers and all kinds of gear.
Some roads are more like wide open spaces because of less traffic, and that has led to some ignoring things like speed limits in a big way.
Please take it easy out there. Again, we're out here trying to keep our highways safe.
Schmidt also reminding people to focus on driving, leave the distractions behind, and be on the lookout for pedestrians and cyclists. And if you are hitting the water this weekend, Schmidt reminding people to wear a personal flotation device.
Yeah, you highway patrol. You don't want your
Just a reminder, if you want to look at what is going on those routes, if you just happen to be heading north, she's got this coming up in just 2 minutes' time.
And a 99-year-old Newmarket man is taking the pandemic one step at a time. As we hear from 680's Momin Qureshi, he's attempting to walk 100 kilometers to raise funds for COVID-19 relief.
George Markow was born in Russia. At the age of 19, he was drafted into the army and served in World War II. His daughter Sylvia says he had a very difficult few years.
In and out of prison camps, starvation, walking on or sleeping on dead bodies.
Despite his tribulation, she says her father has always remained optimistic about life, even now during this pandemic.
He's not complaining about it. He calls where he lives the Taj Mahal because it's so beautiful.
And now Marco is putting his best foot forward, telling me he's trying to walk a total of 100 kilometers by his 100th birthday, one step at a time, in the garden behind his Newmarket retirement home, in the hopes of raising money for South Lake and Sunnybrook Hospital.
All right.
You can find the GoFundMe link to donate at 680news.com. I'm Momin Qureshi.
And now the 680 News gas price update and processed price of gas dropping a cent at midnight to 94.9 cents a liter.
680 News Time, 210.
Cars for Kids hopes that you are all staying safe and healthy. We can and will get through this together. Many of you are probably spending time at home now. Maybe use the time to spring clean, like that old car taking up space in your garage. When you donate your car to Cars for Kids, it can live on by giving kids a chance to succeed. And it can all be arranged from the comfort of your home.
I wouldn't care. It's my floor, right? It's all goddamn
The pickup can be contact-free. You'll receive a tax credit. Go to carsforkids.ca now to donate. Remember, that's Cars with a K.
680 News Time, 211.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Carrie, we're talking about a lot of people heading north, and you are definitely seeing that on the roads.
Yes, indeed. And we have some construction on a couple of those northbound routes that are making matters worse. Now, first off, northbound on the DVP, approaching Eglinton to York Mills, it's busy through that stretch. Just volume related there. And then northbound on the 404, jam solid from approaching the 407 to north of 16th Avenue. Just north of Highway 7, that's where the left lane is closed for construction. And if you're heading into Barrie, northbound 400, expect delays from approaching Mapleview to approaching Dunlop. That's where the left lane is closed, all for road work. It looks like the construction northbound on the 427 at Finch has wrapped up because delays have eased off along that route. Now it's getting increasingly busy eastbound on the 403 through Hamilton. Approaching Aberdeen, the left lane is closed for road work, and traffic is barely moving from approaching the Lincoln Alexander Parkway. Eastbound on the 401, a little bit busy from east of Jane Snow Parkway to Trafalgar, then heavier delays eastbound 401 from the 427 to the 400 express and collectors, but looks pretty good heading into the Durham region. Had a call from a traffic spotter in Brampton. There's a crash at Rutherford and Vaughan, and sounds like all eastbound lanes are blocked off, so keep that in mind if that's part of your route. Westbound on Shepherd, west of Kiel, the right lane is blocked with a collision. Emergency crews are on that scene. Doesn't look too terrible in terms of delays. But east of the city, northbound on Highway 115 at the 35 split, that's where the left lane is closed for construction. So a heavy backup from just north of the 407. Your next traffic report is at 2:21. Now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Sunny and summer-like for us today. Just some fair weather cloud for the afternoon. The guaranteed high, 22 degrees. For tonight, mainly cloudy, 14. And for the weekend, sun and cloud tomorrow, 22. 22 on Sunday, but it'll feel more like 26. Could get some isolated showers and thunderstorms. For today, the guaranteed high, 22. Right now in downtown Toronto, it is sunny and 20. At Pearson Airport, it's sunny and 22. 680 News Time, 2:13.
Now the dynamic funds market minute. For that, we're going to check in at the business center. How are things looking on this Friday afternoon, Curtis?
This is so interesting. We had markets by and large in the red for much of the session. And now the Dow is the only market in the red. It's down 17 points, so also well off its low for the day. We could have a winning Friday after all. The S&P
you win when it's up and you lose when it's down, period. That's how the stock market works, right?
That's up by 33 points, 14,918. Gold stocks moving higher with gold up by $11, $17.33.
No, it helps me
Oil is
because I
going the
invest
other
in
way,
index
down
funds.
89 cents, 33.03 a barrel. So pulling back from a roughly 2-month high, and the Canadian dollar down 18,100, 71.48 cents U.S. At the business center, I'm Chris McCusker.
In times like these, we can all use advice, especially when it comes to investing. Advice matters now more than ever. Speak to a financial advisor and learn more at dynamic.ca/advice.
You could not explain what any of those numbers mean.
And Alex and Nancy, we want to thank you for doing your part. Our Florida stores are now open with curbside service to protect you and our employees. We're ready to serve you at our stores online or by virtual visit at alexania.com. Our vendors are providing us special reopening discounts, and we're passing them on to you. Now you'll save like never before on all carpet, flooring, and area rugs.
About 70%. The S&P.
Amazon is
the S&P. There's 8 fucking S&P indexes.
Work experience required.
The S&P, TSX,
priority with all of our roles and sites.
Not the 60.
Amazon is taking precautions in our buildings to keep people
healthy. About 70% of the fucking stocks trading. 70% of the market value. Stocks traded on the TSX. What's the best performance stock on there is? TSX group. Trades under X on the TSX.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we've got plenty of sunshine.
They did not repeat that story. The whole time, all these people are selling off and shit over the last 2 months or so.
And I'm Sarah Parrots here with the top stories this hour.
Because they're making mad money off the conventions. Yeah, win or lose, you buy or sell, you pay commission.
The government will also help provinces track the contacts of those who have tested positive for
buying on credits that don't make sense. Why are brokerage houses
441 new cases are being reported today in Ontario, which once again falling short of its testing target. And starting tomorrow, there will be a unique opportunity to go to the Toronto Zoo amid the pandemic restrictions. The zoo is going to be offering a drive-through safari, like Jurassic Park, but without the dinosaurs.
That's why I invest in index funds.
680 Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Alex Xero. Alex,
hey guys, good Friday afternoon. We'll start on the ice. St. Louis Blues captain Alex Pietrangelo spent some time on Sportsnet 590 The Fan this morning, and he's fairly confident that this 24-team solution is one that both sides can get behind.
The good part about it is everybody's pretty much interested in it in terms of
the relay's got no power. Right.
There's been more discussion on this than anything I've been a part of. I mean, as there should be. So I'm sure we'll come up with something here within the next couple weeks with the amount of conversation that's going on.
Now, we're still waiting to hear how the NHLPA's executive committee voted on this 2014 proposal. We should get that news at some point later today. Meanwhile, Jerry Sloan, a legend in the NBA and Hall of Famer, has died.
Complications from Parkinson's and dementia took the life of the former player and longtime coach of the Utah Jazz. He was 78. And in the Bundesliga, it is East versus West, as we're about to get the second installment of the Berlin Derby. Union Berlin will take on Hertha Berlin, and you can catch the action at the bottom of the hour on Sportsnet, Sportsnet 1, and Sportsnet World. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
Protect yourself, protect your family, and protect the ones around you. SafetyMasks.ca is your one source for personal protective equipment, from safety masks to gloves, hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes, and gowns. SafetyMasks.ca offers free shipping anywhere in Canada. Convenient family protection packages are now available. Order from home at SafetyMasks.ca and have your shipment delivered straight to your door with free shipping within Canada. Order online, SafetyMasks.ca.
DeWalt's 20-volt max brushless outdoor power tools are what you need to maintain your yard this summer. Get powerful performance and extended runtime with the 3-in-1 cordless lawnmower that uses 2 DeWalt 20-volt max batteries. Trim heavy grass and weeds with the 14-inch string trimmer. Power 2 branches with a full edge trimmer steel laser cut blades. And easily clear debris with the handheld blower with directional control.
I want to hear about the 14-inch corded chainsaw. The electric chainsaw with a cord.
More businesses are being allowed to reopening in this province, with many requiring their customers to wear a mask. Now, Premier Doug Ford says any business has the right to refuse anyone, and he's encouraging people to wear a face covering.
I know there's 2 big retailers, grocery retailers, that you won't get in without a face shield of some sort.
TNT, yeah, he knows his fucking community.
As well, so it's so important if you have a face covering.
That's what it is.
Please wear it.
Now, provincial and federal health experts are on the same page. They're both recommending that masks be worn in public when physical distancing is simply not possible. Well, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today not committing to a federal inquiry into the recent Nova Scotia shootings.
People have many questions about what happened in Nova Scotia, and we're encouraging the RCMP to do its work on the initial investigation. But as we move forward, there will, of course, be larger questions to ask.
Well, anything so far,
the government of Nova Scotia on getting those answers.
Now, Nova Scotia Premier Stephen McNeil had said he would
everybody knew this guy was going to walk, and the cops we never heard of this guy.
Because he's waiting.
Drives around in a car, looks like yours, uniform like yours, never heard of him? No.
You're listening to 680 News. It's now
first thing they say, oh, none of us has ever known this guy ever. Turns out he's got family.
As we hear
or some shit. What was the story? They keep changing it. If I got it wrong, I got it wrong. They do this all the fucking time when it comes to the folks. They change the story over and over.
Local residents says the aircraft circled at least 3 times, prepared to try to land at the airport. Or crashed into several houses. Police and military have cordoned off the area. Smoke is rising. Ambulances quickly race to the scene.
And Pakistan's civil aviation authority says at least 2 people, though, did survive that crash. You're listening to 680 News.
680 News time, 2:21.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Kerry Buska.
This report is brought to you by ExploreNet Internet. Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, it's getting busy from north of Don Mills up to York Mills. And northbound on the 404, heavy backup from approaching the 407 to north of 16th Avenue. There's construction just north of Highway 7. The left lane is closed. You also find delays northbound on the 400, jammed up from Mapleview to approaching Dunlop. The left lane closed there for some road work. Heading eastbound on the 401, seeing delays from the 427 to the 400. Express and collectors gradually filling in through that stretch. But other than that, the eastbound 401 seems to be in great shape. And the westbound 401, that looks great across the GTA, pretty well wide open. Getting around on city streets, westbound Shepherd, west of Keele, the right lane is blocked because of a collision, so a bit busy in that area. And in Brampton, traffic spotters reporting eastbound Bodden at Rutherford. All lanes are blocked with a crash, so expect delays in that area as well. And we still have this construction northbound on the 115 at the 35 split. The left lane is closed. It's jammed from just north of the 407. Accelerate your internet with ExploreNet LTE service. Now with unlimited data. Visit explorenet.com for details. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Well, just some afternoon cloud, otherwise plenty of sunshine, a very pleasant day. The guaranteed high 22 degrees. Some areas, though, even a touch of humidity. For tonight, mainly cloudy 14, and tomorrow, sun and cloud 22. Again, feeling a bit warmer with that humidity. Sunday will feel like 26. Isolated thunderstorms, some showers. More showers or storms possible Monday and Tuesday as well. Very summer-like UX values in the low 30s. For today, the guaranteed high, 22.
Right now in downtown Toronto, 21 degrees under sunshine. It is sunny and 22 at Pearson Airport. 680 News Time, 2:22.
Hi, Steve Friedman here.
And Pam, too. We hope that everyone is healthy, and we are now officially open for business.
Shorter hours and all of the safety precautions in place.
We're open at shorter hours.
So
they're
What about our old normal of best selection in leather
we're trying
and
to
fabric
reduce
seating?
that. We're sorry we're still in business. People make no sense. The grocery store figured it out. You want less people in the store? Open up more hours and use all the extra cash registers.
1 year with no interest, no payment. We work for you.
You got 8 fucking vacuums to
Getting
the
the
money up.
answers
Why
to
aren't
what
you
you need to
collecting
know
money and all
about
8 of them?
COVID-19.
And answers about your job and finances.
If you have a question, ask it at 680news.com/answers.
680 News gets the answers.
We're in this together.
680 News, working for you.
And this portion of 680 News for Alexanian Carpet and Flooring. Unfortunately, some sad news at the beach this morning. We are learning that one of the baby foxes living under the boardwalk has been killed. Our Kevin Meisner telling us now that incident is now prompting a call from the Toronto Wildlife Center.
Even though city staff have put up fencing to keep people away from a family of foxes here at the boardwalk, it appears it wasn't enough. The Toronto Wildlife
you gotta
Center
put somebody in
says one of
sit
the
there. What is
babies
wrong
was
with you
found
people?
dead
You're
last
constantly
weekend.
told,
Wounds likely
keep your eye on
caused in a
something.
dog
Oh, I
attack.
will.
Jason walks his
Go
dog
do
down here
something
most
else.
every day.
Oh, I was. Well, I didn't know.
I guess it's up to the public to.
It's dead now because of you. Oh, your dog's under control. It's on a leash, eh? That's real helpful.
Barriers and the bylaw officers that are there trying to control the crowds.
Rob can't believe reports of people actually touching the fox kids or hand feeding them.
There's always
you give them diseases and shit like parvovirus or whatever the
by
fuck.
curious people may have lessened the
Not
fox
the
baby's
fucking
natural fear.
corona
Combine that with a dog off leash or not under control, and this is the sad outcome. At the beach's boardwalk, I'm Kevin Meisner.
Well, coming up in 60 seconds, we have got Chris McCusker standing by with the latest in business. It has been a day on the markets, and it could be a
You just want to
winning
fucking
Friday for
molest
markets
things that
after
don't
all.
want to be
680
touched.
News Time, 2:25.
I love it when you assholes get eaten by bears, sharks, all that.
We want to thank you
Love
for
that
doing
shit.
your part. Our flooring stores
So
are
we got
now
eaten by a
open
shark.
with
What are
safety
you doing in
measures
the
to
water,
protect you
stupid?
and our employees. We're ready to serve you in-store, at home, online, or by virtual visit at alexanian.com.
Scuba diving was the most dangerous dive in the world that killed hundreds of people and dives. Well, I don't feel
Now you'll
bad.
save like never before on all carpet, flooring, and area rugs.
In 2016, national pride was on the line. As the best players on the planet did battle.
I've seen a video of a guy kicking in a door with a machete, trying to attack and kill people. They're screaming at him to back up, stop, don't come in here, we have a gun, whatever. And he comes in anyway. Pop, pop. Oh, you shot me, you shot me. I'm not even joking. You can find it, but I don't remember the exact keywords. Machete wielding, if somebody shoots machete wielding intruder, I don't.
Business report. We're going to check into the business center with Chris
Swear to God.
McCusker. Now, Chris, we started off
This
this
big tough
morning.
guy when you're kicking in the
Markets
door
were
with a
looking a little rough,
knife.
but as you've been
All
seeing,
like
things have been
you're all
changing as
like
the
that.
days have
You're
been
all
going on.
such
Yes, we've got an improving situation, and keep in mind the U.S. is heading into a
call
long
public health
weekend,
and
so
say,
it
hey, that
wasn't
was me that
entirely
called animal
surprising to
services,
see
that
some
was me that
selling, but
fucking
as it stands right now,
killed
only
that
the
animal.
Dow
This
is in
is
the
what
red and it's off
happened.
37 points, so it's well off the low for the day.
Well, no, your
The
dog is
S&P
your
is up by
property. You don't want
5,
to
the
expose it to
Nasdaq up by
fucking the
33.
dog owner's liability
There are
act.
still these
No.
concerns
If you're
floating
special,
around.
it doesn't apply to you.
U.S.-China relations have
Like
been,
the Attorney
let's say,
General, you can drive drunk and kill
restrained
people,
this week, and that's
it's a
likely
new job
got
with the government in
investors at
fucking
least
Alberta
a
or
bit
whatever.
concerned.
Whatever
Stephen
the fuck
Roach is senior fellow at Yale University.
I'm
He
that
spoke
up
to
too, man.
Bloomberg in New York.
I mean, I
Make it all up. Make it all up.
with
Michael
great
Bryant.
interest
Make it up.
the U.S. Latest statement on our relationship with China. The White House released a document on the 20th of May called the United States Strategic Approach to the People's Republic of China.
I didn't notice these two
And
joints
this is a
missing,
Cold War
so I'll find it out.
manifesto
It probably
by the
felt
Trump administration.
Now, shares in NVIDIA hit an all-time high today after
He's
that
not this
company
joint
reported
because it's not
strong
the right
earnings,
fucking-
and it got at least 2 upgrades. The stock right now up by 2.6%, going as high as 363.72. One analyst describes the latest earnings report as a home run, while the CEO says the stars aligned for a blowout quarter. On this side of the border, the biggest monthly decline on record in retail sales, and it could get worse from here.
All you work with
The
is a
March
number,
reading showed a
one
drop of
number.
10%.
It went up, it went
As
down.
non-essential
Oh, it was like
businesses were
this,
forced to
eh? I
close
watched it
because
go
of
up and then
COVID-19,
down.
and a preliminary reading for
Because what does
April
it mean?
shows
You
the
can't
drop
tell
could be
us.
15%. So in other words, a 25% drop potentially in just 2 months. The Canadian dollar right now is down 17,100, 71.49 cents US. Now the TSX right now higher by 35 points, 14,919. It is looking at a gain of a little more than 1.5% in this short trading week. We do have gold stocks moving higher. Price for gold itself is up by $11, $17.32. While oil could snap its longest winning streak in more than a year, right now it's down 59 cents, 33.33 a barrel. It was trying for a 7th straight winning day, although it's again worth highlighting that the price for oil, while still lower, is off the low for the day. So again, the TSX higher by 35, the Dow down 45. I'm Chris McCusker. This is 680 News.
Diligence.
Adjournment.
Constructive dismissal. Blah, blah, blah. A lot of people expect a meeting with a lawyer to sound something like that. But at Rudner Law, our team will provide the clear, practical advice that you need. My name is Stuart Rudner, and right now, the employment relationship is more complicated than ever. Whether you're an employer or an employee, we will help protect your rights.
HR lawyers, employment lawyers, workplace lawyers, whatever you call them, you'll be glad you did. RudnerLaw.ca.
Join
I talk over them the whole time, disrespecting them on every
Operation Support Local.
I'm Catherine Jete. These local businesses are a part of our life, and while we'll recover, many places need your help to survive.
We encourage you to support local so we can keep the places you love open. It all starts with you. To submit or find a local business to support, visit 680news.com/supportlocal. Operation Support Local.
Member of the Federation doesn't have to be.
We're in this
That's the
together.
Quebecois.
Traffic reports every 10 minutes on the ones.
What was that one again?
At once.
Is 680 News.
Oh, that pissed you
All right,
off
let's take a
there.
look at Jill Taylor's latest forecast now. We got sunshine this afternoon. May see a little more cloud as the day goes on, but a guaranteed high of 22. It's going to be cloudy tonight, low down of 14 for an overnight low. And then tomorrow, a mix of sun and cloud, and it's going to be a great one, 22 degrees. Now, right now in downtown Toronto, we got gorgeous sunshine. Enjoy that. I'm Steve Roberts. Have yourself a great weekend. It's 2:30.
Sign language, gang signs, pantomime, semaphore, dice code. You people get mad no matter how I talk.
And James Monroe.
You know the question I've heard the most in my life? Why don't you shut
Friday,
up?
the 22nd of May.
This is breaking news right now.
I don't know who you are.
Your report says you have symptoms.
Please go out and get tested.
This as testing in the province continues to fall short of daily targets, and Ontario's weekly new case trend rises for a 4th straight day.
The federal and Ontario governments are still looking for an app for COVID-19 contact tracing.
People believe in privacy. I believe in privacy.
Premier Doug Ford says it has to be right for Ontario.
Lions, tigers, bears, and a drive. The Toronto Zoo opens up to cars tomorrow with a new safari experience.
The Daily Bread Food Bank set to open a new warehouse space next week to accommodate a growing need for food distribution in the GTA.
We should get word tonight on how the NHL players decided to vote on the 2014 playoff concept. And longtime Utah Jazz head coach Jerry Sloan has died. Sports 45.
Small uptick on Bay Street here in the Friday afternoon trade. The TSX ahead by 32 points. Different story on Wall Street with a Dow slipping, business at 56.
Slipping. Is it slipping?
Slipping. Traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Carrie Franskis. This report is brought to you by
Mr.
407 ETR.
Northbound on the Don Valley Parkway, it's busy from Don Mills to
telling
York
me how to
Mills.
talk.
And
Why
if
should
you're
I tell
heading
him how to
northbound on the
talk?
404, it's
he
jam
wants.
solid from approaching the 407 to north of 16th Avenue. Construction north of Highway 7 has the left lane closed. And northbound on the 400, approaching Dunlop, the left lane closed there for road work. So it's jammed into Barrie northbound 400 from Mapleview up towards Dunlop. Eastbound on the 401, it's getting busy approaching Mississauga Road to Mavis, and it slows again from the 427 to the 400 express and collectors, but it's pretty well wide open east of the 400. Heads up on a couple of ramp closures for the eastbound 407. No access to that route from eastbound Dundas or from Bronte. Those ramps also shut down for some construction. Eastbound on the 403, approaching Aberdeen, that left lane has reopened, so the construction is wrapped up, but it's still busy eastbound 403 from approaching the Lincoln Alexander Parkway to approaching Aberdeen. East of the city, northbound on the 115 at the 35 split, the left lane is closed for road work. It's jam solid from just north of the 407. 407 ETR is proud to be United Way's first corporate partner in Canada to make a multi-year investment, sending $4 million to help the GTHA recover from COVID-19. And now with the forecast, here's Jill Taylor.
Sunshine again today, just some afternoon cloud. The guaranteed high 22 degrees, even a little touch of humidity today. For tonight, mainly cloudy, 14. For today, the guaranteed high 22.
Sunny skies in downtown Toronto and 22 degrees. This is 680 News.
The province is working on a new approach to testing for COVID-19, including a weekend blitz for frontline workers and senior living facilities.
This as the Prime Minister announces more backing from Ottawa to test and track more cases. Those details in a moment. But first, 680's Alex Bloomfield joins us live with the latest on today's numbers in Ontario. Alex.
There's 441 new cases today, Ontario's highest single-day number since May 8th. And for a fourth straight day, it means the rolling 7-day average rises. The province's death toll also cresting the 2,000 mark. 28 new deaths reported today. About the only positive metric was hospitalizations, dropping by 23. But testing has been the big concern of late. In this latest period, a little over 11,000 tests completed, the most since last Sunday, but still far below the province's capacity of 20,000. Premier Ford says today, in addition to the weekend blitzes in those senior homes and those working in healthcare, he is urging anyone with symptoms to make use of the province's 144 assessment centers.
That's coronavirus. Have a cold. You're a fucking
Please go out and get tested.
I know you grew up in
critical. Ontario's official webpage still saying do not visit an assessment center unless you've been referred by a healthcare professional, but the Premier's office confirms to 680 News that will now be updated. So if you have a symptom of COVID-19, go to an assessment center. Reporting live, I'm Alex Bloomfield.
This is 680 News. The province is looking at different ways to track COVID-19 cases and is working to ensure it doesn't cross the line from public health policy into privacy issues. 680's Mark Douglas joins us live with that. Mark.
Slow Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and Ontario Premier Doug Ford today are both talking about their efforts to get an app that can do contact tracing for COVID-19. The Premier, though, has a few concerns.
Privacy is very, very important, and any app that doesn't have a privacy area in it, then that's going to be difficult. People believe in privacy. I believe in privacy.
Minister of Health Christine Elliott says any tracing app they get must be right for Ontario. She points out the province has been doing pretty well without an app so far.
Medical students, others have come forward to do that, and we are very, very confident that we are reaching over 92% of the people with contact tracing within 24 hours.
And neither she nor the Premier offered any insight on how close the province might be to getting one of these tracing apps. Trudeau could only give a rather
all these rules and restrictions that I'm doing a bunch of shit? Because it might be a day or two before you find out that you got exposed. Well, I'm fine, so I should be allowed to do what I want. They'll call me if something happens.
Yeah, the Registered Nurses Association of Ontario have announced a partnership to ramp up local COVID response. Toronto Public Health will hire more local registered nurses to support case and contact management efforts. Through the partnership, the Nursing Association is actively recruiting RNs to join the city's case and contact management team for the next 3 months.
The Prime Minister says the economy can't fully recover until everyone is confident that any new outbreak of the novel coronavirus can be contained. 6 Cities Parliament Hill reporter Cormac McSweeney joins us with the latest on Ottawa now boosting provincial testing programs.
COVID-19 remains a serious health threat.
As the country prepares for a possible second wave of COVID-19, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says it will be key to test and trace the spread of this virus in order to contain it. Trudeau says he made it clear in a phone call with the premiers this is an urgent priority for the country.
And I've told the premiers that the federal government is here to support, facilitate, and fund this important work.
On top of the feds footing the bill, the Prime Minister says thousands of federal workers stand ready to help provinces with contact tracing and are able to make more than 23,000 calls a day. So far, only Ontario taking the feds up on this offer, not Quebec, despite being a hotbed of infections. Trudeau also announcing a new online tool on the government website to help Canadians connect with the benefits and supports available to them.
You'll find a list of a few simple questions, and the tool will generate an array of programs for which you may be eligible.
Meanwhile, it looks like MPs will have to return to the House of Commons on Monday, with Conservatives saying they want to resume normal proceedings. The Prime Minister says talks with the opposition continue. Cormac McSweeney, Parliament Hill.
This is 680 News. Two city councillors are sounding the alarm about the future of public transit. Shelley Carroll and Mike Layton urging Ottawa to help the TTC deal with the financial burden brought on by low ridership. Carroll says without support, transit riders will not be able to practice physical distancing.
Right now, we need to put 100% of the service on the road just to safely serve a small percentage of the ridership. If we have 40 to 50% of the riders back on the subway, that may seem to people like, oh, you've only got 50% of the people back, but we can't distance them without support.
The federal government has called on the provinces to take the lead on providing transit operating funds, saying it's not within federal jurisdiction.
Well, this could be something fun to do this weekend. The Toronto Zoo is letting visitors experience its facility from a different point of view. 6 Cities Cam Dora joins us with a sneak peek.
The action starts immediately. A rhino to your left, zebras to your right, then straight down through the lion cave. It's a 45-minute non-stop tour. When I say non-stop, I mean it. There's no washroom breaks or areas to take a picture, so make sure you have someone who knows their way around a camera riding shotgun. And thanks to a guided tour you can easily download on your phone, you can also learn a thing or two, like this, about the capybara.
Fun fact, they actually eat their own poop in the morning.
Oh, damn.
This is when it is rich in protein.
Oh, motherfucker, you have to tell me some weirdo shit like that.
Digest it twice.
The more you know, I guess. That one's sure to make the kids laugh. It starts at $44 a car, cheaper if you're a member, and tickets can be found online. At the Toronto Zoo, I'm Cam Dorit.
Well, the pandemic has claimed an unexpected victim, robocalls.
Your social security number has been suspected for fraudulent activity.
One side effect of the coronavirus is actually a pleasant one, less robocalls. Industry experts say robocalls and scam calls are way down, since that industry has also suffered job losses. UMail, which offers a robocall blocking service, says the daily average was 97 million calls in April. That's down from 132 million calls in March. Enjoy it for now. Scammers will probably be back in force once the call centers come back online.
So once you get this message, kindly call us back as soon as possible.
I'm Shelley Adler.
This is the first weekend many things have reopened, but if you're hitting the road, you'll have to remember the same rules still apply as pre-pandemic. 6 Cities Irene Presley joins us with that. Among those rules, speed limits. Police across the province reporting a big increase in speeding charges as people put the pedal to the metal with less cars on the roads. OPP Sergeant Kerry Schmidt says lots of tickets were handed out in a blitz that recently wrapped up.
About 7,000 people were charged with speeding. Just in the GTA, we had nearly 100 people charged with street racing or stunt driving or dangerous driving.
There's been a similar number of street racing charges this week. Schmidt reminding people to pay attention to the roads and changing conditions. And if you're hitting the water,
please have that life jacket on. If you're canoeing, kayaking, boating, cruising, if you got little ones on the dock.
I'm Irene Precklett.
This is 680 News.
And the 680 News gas price update and pro predicting the price will drop a cent at midnight to just under 95 cents a liter.
At Hydro One, we created the pandemic relief program because our team believes
No one should have to worry about being disconnected.
Wherever our customers are, we need
Damn it.
Being here for our customers.
Pour pouvoir me projeter, tout ça, j'imagine, participe au sentiment de confusion que je ressens. Et ça me rend un peu décalée. Surtout socialement, je dirais. J'essaie de garder le cap, comme on dit, je cherche un nouvel équilibre. Alors, je me suis mise à me lever tôt, mais genre vraiment tôt, à l'aube. Je pars en vélo puis je fais le tour de la ville. Des fois, je m'arrête, je m'assois, puis j'observe le monde se réveiller, faire leur jogging, attendre l'autobus, faire leur possible. Ça me cadre, ça m'apaise. En plus, j'adore ça, moi, le matin. Ça a toujours été pour moi la promesse de quelque chose de nouveau. C'est peut-être pour ça que ça me fait moins peur.
Now I got a mnemonic thing about these animals eating their poop.
Alors, donc,
This piece of wire is shit wire, right? Oh, they eat their own poop. Oh,
je cherche ce que j'ai encore à dire. Ça va dans tous les sens dans ma tête. Je réfléchis. J'ai un homme qui passe à côté de moi, il promène son chien. Je le remarque tout de suite, il est super élégant, il est super d'accord, il a l'air d'un prince. Mais là, je me mets à paniquer, je l'avoue, lorsque le prince en question s'avance un peu trop proche, même si c'est pas lui, en fait, c'est son chien qui vient vers moi. Et c'est pas le pauvre animal qui était plus comme avant. Le prince est très correct, il retient son caniche royal, il me salue gentiment, il me demande même si je vais bien. Puis là, je ne sais pas ce qui se passe, je ne sais pas ce qui me prend, mais à sa question, je réponds et je lui déballe littéralement tout mon sac. Je me mets à raconter ma vie, mais genre, je lâche le morceau, là. Je mets au fast-food de plusieurs détails tout le temps intéressants. Je lui synthétise ma dernière année et demie, je lui dis dans quel quartier je reste, ce que je fais dans la vie. Je fais comme moi, je parle beaucoup. Je m'entends parler, je me dis, OK, après cette phrase-là, on s'arrête. Mais je continue pareil, un peu trop longtemps. Le camion, je suis plus capable, il veut continuer sa balade. Que je me sens obligée de m'excuser avant qu'ils continuent leur chemin. Excusez-moi, monsieur, je suis un peu bizarre ces temps-ci. L'autre jour, j'ai oublié de payer à l'épicerie, je suis sortie, puis j'ai marché 5 minutes avec mon panier plein sur le bras sans m'en rendre compte. Ça se peut plus. Excusez-moi, vraiment. Le bon monsieur m'a répondu tout simplement quelque chose comme ça m'a fait plaisir, inquiétez-vous pas, on fait tout plein de gros possible, je pense. Et j'ai vu la lumière dans son regard. Il était sincère. C'est à ces gens-là que j'ai envie de rendre hommage parce que sans doute le monde ne sera plus comme avant. Mais ce matin-là, l'évidence d'un cœur bon devant moi, l'indulgence de la part d'un parfait inconnu, c'est la certitude dont j'avais besoin pour mettre mes idées en place et pour écrire ce cri d'amour à tous ceux qui font leur gros possible. Puis je le sais qu'on est plusieurs en ce moment. Merci beaucoup de m'avoir écouté.
C'était le micro ouvert de Noémie O'Farrell. Bonjour Noémie.
Allô.
Comédienne, auteure, productrice née le 16 mars 1988 à Lévis. D'ailleurs, bravo de cette nomination dans la catégorie premier rôle féminin au cinéma, dans le cadre du Gala Québec Cinéma pour votre rôle de Laurie dans le film Fabuleuse de Mélanie Charbonneau. Alors, Jean-Paul, ce qu'elle vient de faire Noémie O'Farrell, c'est une ode, hein? Vous en faites des odes, Jean-Paul, c'est ça. Aux autres, en fait, on pourrait dire que vous avez emprunté d'une certaine façon le thème si cher à Agnès Jaoui et Jean-Pierre Bacry, le goût des autres.
Ah oui, c'est exact, l'amour des autres. Surtout en ce moment, hein, on a tout ce qu'il faut pour le réaliser.
Oui, c'est là qu'on voit comment le monde nous manque. C'est ça que je trouve qui est terrible dans cette pandémie. De ne pas pouvoir se voir de près, se toucher, se parler comme on parlait avant.
Ben oui, parce que Zoom, on s'entend que ça a beaucoup de limites, là.
Ben, en plus, avec le masque, c'est ce qu'on appelle à la recherche du sourire perdu.
J'entends tellement le sourire, ça dit beaucoup de choses. On a beaucoup remarqué sur le petit éclat dans les yeux. C'est vrai que les gens... Oui, c'est là qu'on voit leur âme, en fait. Est-ce que c'est vrai que vous voyez la bonté beaucoup en ce moment, Noémie?
Ah, vraiment, vraiment. C'est sûr que j'ai plus de temps pour la remarquer aussi, comme vous direz peut-être, mais je trouve que ça rend les gens profondément vulnérables et touchants. Fait que oui, vraiment, c'est quelque chose que je vois et qui me fait beaucoup de bien.
Oui, le goût des autres, évidemment, on le cultive à l'heure actuelle. Je pense que ça va prendre du temps avant qu'on nous entende dire « Moi, les autres, je suis plus capable, j'ai besoin d'un break ». C'est peut-être la bonne nouvelle dans cette histoire-là, c'est qu'on va valoriser les liens qui nous unissent. En tout cas, c'est tout ce qu'on souhaite certainement. Noémie Farrell, bravo de ce très beau texte. Merci beaucoup d'avoir été avec nous. Et on vous souhaite bien sûr le mot de Cambronne, hein, c'est ce qu'on dit dans le milieu du théâtre et du cinéma.
Oui,
oui.
Je le prends.
Ben voilà, c'est ce qu'on répond. Merci. Excellente fin de journée à vous, Noémie. Merci d'avoir été avec nous.
Bonne journée. Au revoir.
This thing here.
From dementia and Parkinson's, Sloan coached the Utah Jazz to 15 straight playoff appearances and finals appearances in 97 and 98. He won over 1,300 games as a head coach. And happening now on Sportsnet, we got some live soccer. It's the Bundesliga and the Berlin Derby as Union is taking on Hertha. We are 0-0 in the 9th minute. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime at sportsnet.ca/590.
First, your disability insurance denies your long-term disability claim, and then your employer threatens to fire you if you don't return to work. Sound familiar? My name is Aaron Waxman, and if your disability insurance denies your disability claim for any reason, or if your employer threatens to fire you because you're too sick to